In this free course, I'm going to show you step-by-step how to get SMMA clients using outreach in 2024. In fact, I'm going to give you the exact copy and paste outreach system I used to build a 7-figure agency in my 20s, all for free. In this course, we'll cover proven outreach scripts you can use to book meetings, the best strategies and platforms to find qualified leads to reach out to, and how to scale your outreach campaigns to reach thousands of business owners in your niche every single day so you can get more meetings and clients than you know what to do with. I'm literally going to give you everything you need to get consistent clients using outreach for your agency in this course. And I guarantee you this is going to be the best free course you've ever seen on outreach, and most gurus are charging thousands of dollars for a course like this, and I'm going to give it to you 100% free. And don't worry, I have nothing to sell you in this free course. Like I said, I already grew my own agency past 7 figures in revenue, and the reason I'm making this free is because I want to make sure you have all the information you need to build a 6 or 7-figure agency in the next 12 months. So with that being said, get a pen and paper handy and let's dive into the course. All right, welcome to the SMMA outreach course. And what I want to do in this quick video is give you an overview of what we're going to cover so you know what to expect, as well as how to maximize your results. So with that being said, let's dive right into it, and let's start with the objective of this course, and that is to help you build out an outreach system that gets clients consistently for your agency. And I'm going to give you the copy and paste outreach system that I personally used to build the foundations of my 7-figure agency. This is what I did to get clients coming in the door when I first started out. And I'm going to break everything down step by step so you can copy and model it for your agency so you can get clients consistently. So that's the objective of the course. Now, in terms of what we're going to cover, the first lesson, we're going to go over the outreach strategy at a high level and the mindset you need to succeed with outreach. In lesson number 2, we're going to go over choosing your outreach platform, because there's a bunch of outreach platforms that you can choose, but I'm going to show you which ones make the most sense for your niche and your offer. Then in lesson number 3, we're going to go over creating your outreach scripts. And I'm going to give you proven copy and paste outreach scripts that I personally use to get consistent meetings booked. So that way you can skip the guesswork. As long as you have a good offer, you're going to get meetings booked using these scripts. Then in lesson number 4, I'm going to show you how to find endless leads to reach out to. And I'm going to show you 4 different strategies to find endless leads, so you never get stuck of who am I going to reach out to. Then in lesson number 5, we're going to go over optimizing your outreach profile, because when you're doing outreach, it pretty much works like a funnel. So you need to make sure whichever outreach platform you're using, it's set up properly, because people are going to judge you based on how your outreach funnel looks like. So we need to make sure that checks the boxes, or else people aren't going to reply. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Then in lesson number 6, we're going to go over setting your outreach targets and your key performance indicators, because we need to make sure that we have targets that we're aiming for and we know the math behind what's required to get our outreach working profitably. Then in lesson number 7, we're going to go over launching your initial outreach campaigns. So this is where we go live and we actually launch our outreach campaigns. In lesson number 8, we're going to go over assessing your outreach campaign results. In lesson number 9, and this is one of my favorites, we're going to go over optimizing your outreach campaigns. So I put together a really cool document that at any point, if your outreach campaigns are not working, it's going to show you exactly how to fix it and what your next step is so you can get your outreach campaigns working, so you can get clients in. So if you ever get stuck and your outreach campaigns are not working, this lesson is going to show you how to fix that. And then in lesson number 10, this is probably going to be your favorite lesson, is going to be scaling your outreach campaigns. So this is step by step how to automate your outreach campaign so you can send thousands of outreach messages every single day in your niche to qualified business owners so you can get more meetings and clients and you know what to do with. So as you can see, we got a lot to cover in this course. Now, in terms of how to maximize your results, because that's why you're watching this, you want results, you want more clients. So here's how to maximize your results. The first thing is click the link in the description or go to the pinned comment below to get the outreach course notes for free. That way you can follow along with the lessons and have everything in one central location. The second thing is save this course to a playlist or bookmark it. I'd recommend saving it somewhere handy because you're likely going to refer back to this course multiple times throughout the year. So make sure it's in a playlist or bookmark it. The third thing is follow the lessons one by one. This course is meant to be followed step by step, so don't skip around, go through things one by one so you can use the system. That's going to be very important. The next thing, and this is probably the most important thing if you want results, is implement quickly, because every single lesson in here, there's an action step that's associated with each lesson for you to complete. And if you complete those action steps, you're going to get momentum. So make sure to implement things quickly. Don't overthink things. If you overthink things and never take any action, you're not going to get any results. And what I'm going to show you in this course, these systems are proven to work. All you have to do is take action. So don't overthink things, get it done, and you will see momentum and progress. The next thing is ask any questions in the comments below. If at any point you're stuck or you need clarity, drop a comment below and I'll personally respond to it. There's no such thing as a stupid question. I guarantee you if it's on your mind, other people are going to have that same question as well. So by you dropping a comment below and me responding to it, a lot of other people are going to get value from it as well. So again, if you have any questions, drop them in the comment section. And finally, enjoy the process. Don't get too stressful with things. Just make sure you're taking action, because once you get your outreach working and you're getting clients and you see money in your bank account, it's going to be a lot of fun, but make sure you enjoy the process along the way as well. So we got a lot to go through. And with that being said, let's dive into the first lesson in the course. All right, in this lesson, we're going to go over the cold outreach strategy and when to use it. So let's dive right into it, and we'll start with what is cold outreach. And what cold outreach is reaching out to people in your niche who don't know who you are and presenting them your offer. So examples of cold outreach are things like cold email or cold DMs on Facebook and Instagram. Again, we're reaching out to people in your niche who don't know who you are and presenting them your offer. Now, what the cold outreach sales process looks like from the very beginning to the end when someone becomes a client is the first step is we find contact information of people in our niche. So that's their email, their phone number, and any social media links. Then once we have their contact information, we send them a cold pitch. So that pitch might be on cold email or cold DM. Then once we send them a cold pitch, that prospect will reply to that cold pitch with interest. Then once they reply, we book a meeting with that prospect, which is a sales call. And then finally, we close them into a paying client. So that's the sales process from the very beginning to the end. Now let's go over when to use cold outreach. So you want to start using cold outreach if you're new and you're just starting your agency. Next, if you have less than $100 per day to put into ad spend, you want to use cold outreach. If you have less than 3 case studies, you want to use cold outreach. Or if you already have paid ads working and you're looking to expand marketing channels, then it makes sense to use cold outreach. And the biggest pros with cold outreach is the first thing is it's cheap. So it's very cheap to use cold outreach. It's pretty much free. So that's why it's typically the first marketing channel and acquisition system you're going to use, just because of how cost effective it is. The next thing is it's fast. So cold outreach, you can start getting leads and calls booked in like 24 hours as long as you have a good outreach message, because we just need to find people's contact information and send them a message. So it's very fast. The third thing is it's easy. Again, cold outreach is a simple process. We find people's contact information and we send them messages. So it's a very easy, straightforward process. There's not a lot of tech involved. And then finally, cold outreach is proven. It's been around since the internet's been out, and there's hundreds of thousands of businesses, if not millions of businesses, using cold outreach. So it's a proven process. The biggest con with cold outreach in the beginning is there's a lot of manual labor in the beginning. So it's going to feel very hard for you to get your first few clients from outreach. That is the hardest part, is getting your first few clients with cold outreach. But once you get there and you get your first few clients with outreach and you understand the system, it becomes so much easier and it begins to snowball. So the thing you need to really adopt is you need to reach that tipping point once you get your first few clients, because everything after that is a lot easier. The hardest part is just getting those first few clients from your outreach. And it might feel very tedious, but just embrace that. Like, expect that it's going to be hard in the beginning. Now, in terms of the mindset that you need to succeed with cold outreach, there's a few mindset shifts you really need to adopt to maximize your chances of outreach working for you. The first thing is it's a volume game. So you need to start thinking in thousands and not hundreds. So with cold outreach, you need to be sending thousands of messages every single month, not hundreds, thousands. So if you adopt that mentality that it's an outreach, it's a volume game, then you're going to succeed. Like the clients that we've worked with that had the most success with outreach, they're sending thousands of outreach messages every single month, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, right? Not hundreds. So that's the first thing. The second thing is consistency. So you have to do outreach for months on end to gain traction. You can't think you can just do outreach for 30 days or 60 days and then quit. Like, you're not going to get any results really with any acquisition channel, right? So you need to make sure you can commit to it for the long term and be consistent with it. The third thing is you have to adopt the mindset that you have nothing to lose, because you either get a no or a yes. And if someone says a yes to you, that can change your life. But if someone says no with your outreach, your life doesn't really change. You're in the exact same position. Because I know for me, I was very scared with reaching out to business owners initially because I was afraid of rejection. But once I thought about it, I was like, okay, if they say no, my life doesn't change. I'm in the exact same position, but I only need one person to say yes. If I get one person to say yes and they give me money, my life can change and I can start getting momentum and building my agency. So once I adopted that mindset, it was a lot easier for me to reach out to these prospects cold because I knew I had nothing to lose. So really adopt that mindset, where that nothing to lose mindset. The fourth thing is you have to iterate and adapt. So you have to know how to get feedback from your outreach and be able to iterate and adapt as required. And I'm going to show you how to do that in the course, so don't worry. But let's say you're sending out outreach messages and no one's responding and you're getting no meetings. If you just continue to send out the same message and not change anything, you're not going to get any results. So you need to learn how to look at the data and make adjustments. And then finally, and this is probably the most important thing, is just it's effort. You need to put in as much effort as possible and adopt the mindset that this will take a lot of effort. This is going to be hard work. And this is like that Rocky cutscene period where you're going to be doing a lot of work, a lot of effort. It might feel hard in the time being when you're going through it, at least on a day-to-day basis, but it'll be worth it because as long as you have good volume and you're consistent and you iterate and adapt, you will get cold outreach to work for you and you'll start getting clients, and it's what's going to build the foundation for your successful agency. So really adopt that it's going to take a lot of effort. Now, if you come in with that mindset and you apply these things, you have a much higher chance of cold outreach working for you, getting clients from it, and succeeding. So hope you found this video helpful. This is just a quick overview of the cold outreach strategy and when to use it. So now that we've gone over that, I'll see you in the next lesson. All right, in this lesson, we're gonna go over choosing your cold outreach platform. And there's two primary cold outreach platforms you can choose that are the most proven. The first one is cold email, and the second is cold Instagram direct messages. So what I'm gonna do is go through the pros and cons of each one of these platforms so you can see what makes the most sense for your niche and offer. So let's start with cold email and we'll go through the pros first. The first pro is there's less restrictions on sending limits. So with cold email, you pretty much always been able to send 50 to 100 cold emails per day per Gmail and G Suite account. With cold direct messages on Instagram, you used to be able to send 100 per day. Now it's closer to 50 per day. And sometimes you get restricted at like 30 direct messages per day on Instagram. Now there are workarounds for that, which I'm going to show you in this course, but I just trust cold email more because there's less restrictions, and cold Instagram messages and social media just seems to change a little bit more often. The second pro is it's very easy to find email addresses of people, and almost every business owner has a business email that they check regularly. And that's a huge advantage because it's so easy to find the contact information of people you want to go after and send them a cold email. The third pro is there's much better software to manage and scale cold email campaigns compared to cold direct message campaigns on Instagram. So there's just amazing tools to find cold emails, send cold emails, and scale cold emails, and you don't have the same software tools with cold DMs. Now, personally, I've seen more 7- and 8-figure businesses built out of cold email than cold DMs, so take that with a grain of salt. Now, in terms of the cons with cold email, the first one is it's more crowded. So pretty much every business owner is going to get hit up by multiple cold emails every single week, so they're used to it. So their inbox is a little bit more crowded and you're competing for their attention. And because of that, you can run into lower open rates. So we need to make sure we have a stronger outreach message and a more compelling offer because you're competing against more people in their cold emails. The second thing is it's less personal and conversational. So cold emails, it's very direct, it's to the point, but compared to direct messages on Instagram, it's more of a conversation and you can let it flow. And that's a little bit of a con because you can't really have that personal connection with people. Now, in terms of cold Instagram direct messages, the biggest pros is number one, it's less crowded. If you can find the Instagram profile of someone in your niche that you're going after, you can typically have higher engagement rates with them compared to a cold email because they're typically checking their social media and it's more personal. The second thing is you can engage with people much longer and build a connection. That is probably the biggest advantage with cold Instagram DMs is if you follow someone, you can actually like their photos, you can engage with their page, and they'll actually get used to seeing your face and they'll build a connection with you versus it's very hard to do that on cold email. And again, it's just more personal and more conversational. Now, the cons with cold Instagram direct messages is there's more account restrictions and the software and tools are not as good. So those are the biggest cons. Now, in terms of which platform to choose, it really depends on which platform your niche is using the most and is easiest to find their contact information. So for example, if my niche is personal trainers who spend a ton of time on Instagram posting content, Instagram direct messages might be more appropriate because that's where they spend a lot of time, that's where they do business, they're used to engaging with that page, so that makes more sense for that niche. Now, if I'm going after software founders who barely use social media, cold emails are more appropriate. So you have to do a little bit of research on your niche and really figure out what platforms are they using and they engage the most on. So that will determine that. If you're stuck, however, and you don't know which platform to choose, almost everyone has a business email and checks it. So I would start with cold email if you're unsure, just for the reason because almost everyone has a cold email. There's much better software and tools to find leads, scale your email campaigns, and manage your outreach campaigns. So for that, if you're stuck, choose cold email. But if your niche spends a lot more time on cold Instagram and just Instagram in general, and you have experience with Instagram and you spend a lot of time there, then I would choose Instagram direct messages. So the action item I want you to focus on is choose your cold outreach platform. Do a little bit of research, figure out where your niche hangs out, and then from there, choose it. And if you're stuck, pick cold email. So once you've done that, I'll see you in the next video. Cheers. All right, in this lesson, we're gonna go over creating your outreach scripts. And there's a lot we're gonna cover in this lesson, so let's dive into it. So there's gonna be 3 core scripts we're gonna create. The first script is our initial outreach scripts. So this is the initial outreach message we're going to send to a prospect to get them to reply with interest in our services and our offer. The next script is our outreach scheduling script. So once someone replies to us with interest in our offer and services, this is the script we're going to use to schedule them onto our calendar so we can have a sales call with them. And then the final script is our follow-up outreach scripts, both short-term and long-term. So these are the follow-up scripts we're going to use to constantly reach out to our outreach leads to maximize the amount of meetings and clients we get from our outreach efforts. So let's dive right into it, and we'll start with creating our initial outreach scripts. So these are going to be 3 core outreach scripts that I've personally used that I've had the most success with to get meetings and clients. So these are all proven, and you can model them as long as you have a good offer. So the first script is a 5-step direct offer script. The second script is the Loom video script. And the third outreach script is the 2-step value script. So let's break down the first one, which is the 5-step direct offer script. And there's 5 core steps to this script. The first is we start with the compliment. The second step is we state our irresistible offer. The third step is we add social proof. The fourth step is we have immediate relief. And the final step is we have a call to action. So let's break this down. So the first step that we're actually technically going to have, if you're sending out a cold email, if you're sending out a cold direct message on Instagram or Facebook, you don't have to worry about this because there's no subject lines. But if you're sending a cold email, you need a subject line. And the whole point of a subject line is to get the message and email opened. So you want to make sure your subject line looks like it's coming from a friend. If it comes across and it looks like a sales message, people aren't going to open it. So the subject lines I've had the best success with are things like, hey name, or quick question, or check this out, because it's very simple and it looks like it's coming from a friend and it creates curiosity. So you want a subject line that's simple and creates curiosity that looks like it's coming from a friend. Then we need to state our compliment. So the whole job of a compliment in an outreach message is to get our foot in the door. Because if we're reaching out to someone who doesn't know who we are, the best way to gain their trust and get our foot in the door is by giving them a compliment that appeals to their ego. Think about it. You probably love it when friends and family give you compliments, and your prospects are no different. So what I like to do is have 1 or 2 sentences that's a personal compliment to them. So let's say I'm reaching out to a gym owner. I could say, hey name, love your podcast. I used your intermittent fasting cycle you mentioned on episode 210, and I've already dropped 10 pounds. So the person reading this, if they see that compliment, they're immediately going to like me, and they're going to be curious to what the rest of my message is. So I've gotten my foot in the door. Then the next step is my irresistible offer. So once I got my foot in the door with the compliment, I need to hit them with my irresistible offer. Now, the stronger your offer is, the better this is going to work. So I could say, just a quick question, are you getting consistent members for your gym? If not, we guarantee we can help you double your gym members in the next 60 days using a simple 3-minute automated video funnel. So just like that, I'm stating my irresistible offer. Then after we state our offer, we need to add social proof, because the first thing someone's going to think after we state our offer is, okay, prove it, or who have you done it for? So the best way to address that is by adding social proof. So I could say, we've built these funnels out for a bunch of gyms around the area, like Gym X and Gym Y, and your gym has similar characteristics of clients we get great results for. So just like that, I've addressed that concern in their mind of who have you done it for. Now, if you don't have social proof right now, it's not the end of the world. Everyone starts with no case studies and social proof, but you need to make it a priority to get case studies, because once you have case studies and social proof, your outreach is going to work a lot better. Then from there, we need to state immediate relief. Now, what immediate relief is we want the prospect to taste how quickly we can solve their problems. So to give you an example, I can say, we can get this set up for you in a click of a button. And again, we guarantee you'll double your members in the next 60 days or you don't pay for it. So when I state we can get this set up for you in a click of a button, it's stating just how quickly I can solve their problem and provide immediate relief. You want the prospect to taste that outcome. Then we have a call to action where we tell the reader what we want them to do next. So I can state, if you're interested, just send me a quick reply and I can send you the next steps. Thisura. So these are the 5 steps to the direct offer script. This is the outreach message script that I've used the most, that as long as you have a good offer, this will work. The sequence of this structure here is proven. You just need to model it. So that is the 5-step direct offer script. The next script that you can use is the Loom video script. And I've used this script a ton to land big clients, and it's one of my personal favorites. So all we're going to have is a subject line if we're sending it via cold email, which is going to be the exact same, either hey name or quick question or check this out. And then here's the copy. Here's what makes it so simple. We're going to say, hey name, just made this quick video for you. You can watch it here. Let me know your thoughts, and then sign off with your name. Now you can see just how easy this outreach message is. There's a lot of curiosity behind this message because there's only like 3 or 4 sentences. Think if you were on the other side of this. If you saw a message like this, you'd probably be curious and want to watch the video. Now, if you're wondering what is going to be in this video, what we're going to do is this 5-step outreach script here that we've already drafted out. We're just going to use this and shoot a personal video of us saying this script. This should take us no longer than 30 to 60 seconds. And what we're going to use is the app called Loom. Now, Loom is a free video screen recording software. It's free. There's a paid plan that's like $10 a month. It's totally worth it. I've made a lot of money using Loom. But what it allows you to do is record your screen and send someone a personal video. And this is what I've used to send personal messages and outreach messages to clients. So let me show you how to do this. I'm not going to record a video at the same time, or else there's going to be 2 videos going at once, but I'm going to show you what this would look like. So in the video, what it would be is a video of me direct to camera with my face, pitching and saying this script here. So let's say I'm reaching out to the gym owner, and the gym owner's name is John. I would say, hey John, love your podcast. I used your intermittent fasting cycle you mentioned on episode 210, and I've already dropped 10 pounds. Anyways, the reason I want to reach out to you, John, is just a quick question. Are you getting consistent members for your gym? If not, we guarantee we can help you double your gym members in the next 60 days using a simple 3-minute automated video funnel. Now, we've built out these funnels for a bunch of gyms in the area like Gym X and Gym Y, and your gym has the exact same characteristics of clients we absolutely crush it for. Now, we can get this system set up for you with the click of a button. And again, we guarantee you'll double your members in the next 60 days, or you don't pay for it. If you're interested, Jen or John, just shoot me a quick reply and I'll send you over the next steps. Cheers, Thisura. Right? So that's what that would look like. Now, obviously, you'd want to memorize the script and get good. That was me just doing it off the cuff there. But you'd actually want to practice the script and memorize it, because once you memorize that script, pretty much the only thing you change is the compliment and the person's name, and the rest of the script stays the exact same. Now, one thing here too, because you're sending a personalized video, and they know it's personalized to them, in some cases, you don't even need a compliment because it's already so personalized. You can just start right with the offer section here and dive right into it. This is what I did. I would basically send 50 to 100 of these cold Looms a day. It took time, but it would be a very personalized message. People would resonate with it and it would have a good response rate. So that's the second outreach script, is the Loom video script. There's only 3 sentences with it. You just send a personal video, send it to them, and it pitches this right here. The third script you can use is the 2-step value script. Now, this one is amazing. Like, this is a little bit more advanced, but if you have good case studies and you're confident in your ability to deliver results and you have a good process, this works really well. So this is the 2-step value script. It starts with step number 1, where we're trying to get the reply. Now, this can be done via email or cold DMs, like I mentioned. So same thing, we start with the subject line, which is going to be the same. Hey name, quick question, something like that looks like it's coming from a friend. So what we're going to do is step number 1 of the 2-step value script is we're going to personalize it. So we're going to have a compliment. Again, hey name, love your podcast, use your intermittent fasting cycle, already dropped 10 pounds, right? Same personalized compliment. Then we're going to add social proof, where I can say, want to reach out since we've been working with a few gyms in the area like Gym X and Y, and we've been testing a new lead generation system that gets our average gym double the members in the first 60 days. Then we want to provide big, fast value. I put together a quick 5-minute video breaking down the whole system so you or someone on your team can implement it, as I think you'd get great results from it. Then we're going to have a call to action. Let me know if you want it and I'll send it your way. So what we're doing here is we've built value of this thing that can immediately give them value to their gym. I'm saying, hey, we've been testing this new lead gen system that gets our average member double the members for their gym in the first 60 days. I put together a 5-minute video breaking the whole system down, want me to send that over, right? So that's the first step here. Now, once they say yes, let's say they reply to this outreach message that you send saying, yeah, send it over. Then what we're going to do is we're going to send them this saying, great, here's the video, watch it here. Now I'm going to go through the script to use in the video here shortly, so you'll know exactly what to say and how to structure it. And then we say, great, here's the video, watch it here. Hope you find it helpful. And here's what we're gonna do after that. Then we're gonna insert our offer. Also, if you watch the video and you want us to just build the entire system for you, we guarantee to double your members in 60 days using it, or you don't pay. Then we add social proof. We built these funnels out for a bunch of gyms in the area, and your gym has similar characteristics of clients we get great results for. Then we have immediate relief. We can get this set up for you in a click of a button, and again, we guarantee it'll double your members in the first 60 days, or you don't pay for it. Then we have our call to action. If you're interested, just send me a quick reply and I can send you the next steps. Sign off with your name. So this is a two-step because again, we start by giving them value up front. We get their reply. They have engaged and they've raised their hand that they want our thing and they're suffering with the pain. And then once they reply, we give them a highly valuable asset, but then we also pitch our offer at the exact same time. So inside this video, you're probably wondering, okay, what is the script in the video that we're going to send them? So here's what it looks like. And you just have to create this video one time and you can send it over and over and over again. So here's how to create this video. Now, a couple of things on how to present this. First, you want to screen share, right? So you'd want to use Loom or recording software. You can do this video either using Google Slides or just a Google document. You want to make sure your face is in the video so they can have a personal connection with you. You want to make sure you have clear audio, and you want to speak like you're actually shooting to one person, not to many people. And here's what I mean by that. So the first step in your video is you want to have a good hook. This is straight to the point promise of what the person is going to get by watching this video. So I could say, hey, in this quick video, I want to show you a simple lead generation system you can set up in the next 24 hours to double your gym members in the next 60 days, right? So just like that, I am going straight to the point promise. And I'm also making this seem like I'm shooting to one person because I'm not saying, hey guys, I'm saying, hey, in this quick video, I want to show you a simple lead generation system you can set up to get more members, right? So it seems like I'm just talking to one person. Then I'm going to add social proof and back up my results. Same thing. So I'm going to say, I know you're probably a bit skeptical after hearing a promise like that. So just for some proof, this is the same system we've used to help. And then I would insert my case studies. So I would probably mention 2 or 3 different gym owners because that would be my niche in this example, and the results they got using it. Then we have our value overview. So what you want to do is you want to have some big picture value, just a big picture concept of how your strategy works. You don't want to get too nitty gritty with all the tech and everything. You just want to have a high level overview of the strategy and the process so they can understand it. So in this example, I could talk about the offer that we're using, the ads that we're using, and I could actually show them the ad step by step that they could use, right? And an ad that actually worked for gyms. Then I could show them the funnel that we're using, right? At a high level. Then after I've overviewed the process and given them value, then you have a call to action with the next steps. So then I could say, from here, you have 2 options. Option number 1, if you have a pretty good idea of everything, you and your team can go ahead and implement it and do the strategy yourself. Or option number 2, we can just build this whole system out for you, and we guarantee we'll double your gym members in the first 60 days, or you don't pay for it. If you're interested, go here to book a call, and you could just have a URL where they could book a call, or simply reply to this message, and we can go from there. So that is the video script. And again, you only need to shoot this video once. You could shoot this via Loom, just have some Google Slides that go through the structure, or it could even be a Google Doc with this filled out, but that's what you're going to send people. So all you're doing with this 2-step is you're sending them this first thing that's giving them this valuable asset, and the goal here is for them to reply to it. Once they've replied, they've basically selected themselves as being interested in what you have to offer and sell. And then after that, we reply to them and we send them that asset that we only need to create one time, and we also state our offer in our reply as well. So that is the 2-step value script. Now, what you need to do now that we've gone over our initial outreach scripts, again, the goal of our initial outreach scripts is to get someone to reply with interest in our services. So what I want you to do is I want you to create your initial outreach scripts. You want to create scripts for at least 2 of the 3 scripts mentioned, right? So you want to create your 5-step direct offer script, your Loom video script, and your 2-step value script. You want to have at least 2 scripts created. Now, unless you're a little bit more advanced and you have good proof of concept, you might not be able to do the 2-step value script because you need to have a process that's proven and good case studies. If you're not in that position right now, you want at the very least for you to have the 5-step direct offer script. Like every single one of you should use the 5-step direct offer script. It's the easiest one to use and it's the most proven. And the Loom video script because it's basically the same thing but just in a personalized video format. So that's the action item I want you to do is create your initial outreach scripts and have at least 2 scripts ready. Now that we've created our initial outreach scripts, now let's go over creating your short-term follow-up scripts. So what our short-term follow-up scripts are is we don't want to just send one person one message. We need to make sure we actually follow up with them in the short term as well to maximize the amount of people who actually see our message. So our short-term follow-up scripts can look as so. So the first follow-up message, whether it's an email or we're sending them a DM, we just wait 1 day, and if we don't hear back from them, we could say, hey name, did you get a chance to see this? I know you probably got a lot on your plate, but just want to bump this in case you didn't. Then sign off with your name. Then if they still don't reply, wait another 2 days and restate your offer. Hey name, do you have room for more members in your gym? If so, we guarantee we can help you double your gym members in the next 60 days using a simple 3-minute funnel. We've built these out for a bunch of gyms in the area like X and Y, and I think we can get great results for you too. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in? Sign off, right? So we're just restating our offer again because maybe they didn't see it. We just want them to see our offer right away. And then the final follow-up email, we're going to wait 3 days. And if they still don't reply, we're going to have a last call saying, hey name, one last follow-up here. Are you the right person to reach out to regarding more members for your gym? Let me know if there's someone else I should reach out to. Thisura. So that is the short-term follow-up scripts, just 3 follow-up emails or messages that we're going to send people to bump them until they reply to our message. Now, if you're sending someone a 2-step value script, the follow-up is going to be a little bit different. So the first message can stay the same. The second one, when you're restating the offer, instead of you pitching the offer right away, you would say, hey name, were you able to hey name, did you still want me to send across this free resource that'll show you how to get more members to your gym, right? Or whatever you're sending across, it will just change slightly because you're sending someone a valuable asset rather than sending them the pitch right away. So hopefully that makes sense. But what you want to do, the action item, is I want you to create your outreach follow-up scripts using the frameworks above. All you need to do is create 3 simple follow-up messages that follow this, right? And again, it's either going to be sent to them via email or cold DMs, depending on which platform you're going to send, but the same principle applies. So once you do that, now you have your outreach, your short-term outreach follow-up scripts created. The next thing that we have to create is we have to create our outreach scheduling scripts. So if you remember what our outreach scheduling scripts are, is the moment someone replies to our initial outreach message or our follow-up messages with interest in our services, the next step is we have to schedule them onto a phone call. So here's how we're going to do that. Let's say they reply to our initial message with something like, yes, I'm interested, or yes, tell me more. Here's how we're going to schedule them to our calendar so we can have a sales call. We could say, great. The next step from here is we can book a quick 15-minute chat and I can go over our system in more detail. I can do X time or Y time. So you just insert 2 times that they can book in a call with you. So you could say, I can do today at 9 a.m. or 4 p.m. I like to have one morning time and one later in the daytime. If that doesn't work, here's my personal calendar to schedule in. And you'd insert your personal meeting link, whether they're using Calendly or Go High Level, whatever you're using for them to actually book in a meeting with you personally. If none of those times work, let me know and we can work something out. Sign off. All right, so that's the first message. Then if you still don't hear back from them in 24 hours, send them a bump. Say, hey name, did any of those times above work for you? Let me know if not, and I can fit around your schedule. Sign off with your name. Now, if they still don't reply to you, wait another 24 hours and say, hey name, everything okay? Never heard back from you. Thisura, right? So this is how we're going to follow up with them. Again, this is for people who've replied with interest. So we know they're interested. We just need to get them to schedule a phone call. So we're going to continuously follow up and push them to book a call with us. Now, once they've booked a call with us, you don't need to continue messaging them, right? It's done. Now, if you also have their phone number and you have their phone number on file, you can also call them as well if they reply with interest. So what I would recommend is call them all the time, right? Like an unreasonable amount of times until they pick up because they expressed interest. So you might as well fight to get them on a phone call because you'll make money if you do. So days 1 to 10, you can call them 2 times per day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. Days 11 to 20, you can call them once per day. And then days 21 to 30, you can call them 3 times per week. So every other day. So the script that you would use is you could call them. Let's say the person's name's Jim. You could say, hey, is this Jim speaking? And then Jim picks up and he says, yeah, this is Jim. Then you're going to open. Hey, Jim, this is just Thisura with Scale with Less. I was just wrapping up a meeting and saw you reply to my email I sent you on how we can help you double your gym members in the next 60 days. So I thought I'd give you a quick ring. Is now still a good time? Just something like that. That is the opening to it. Now, once they say, yeah, they reply to that, then what we're going to do is we're going to say, great. Next steps from here are really straightforward. We can book in a quick 15-minute call and I can go over our system in more detail and how it works. Does that work for you? And they're going to say yes. And then you could say, great, I have availability today at X or Y or tomorrow at X or Y. What works better for you? They say yes. You want them to confirm a time. Then say, perfect. I'll just send you a calendar invite now so it shows up on your end. Is the best email X, whatever email you have on file. Then send them over the email saying, great, just sent the invite across your way. Did you get it? You want to confirm that they received that invite and then tell them to hit accept on that invite because once they hit accept, that meeting actually shows up on their calendar and then just say, thanks, we'll chat with you then. So it's a very simple script here. And one thing I want to add out too is the reason we say I was just wrapping up a meeting and saw you reply to my email, you want to kind of imply that you have shit to do. You're not like if you want to kind of say like, hey, you're in a hurry as well. And then the other thing is you always, if they say like, hey, like I don't have time to do that, can we just do the call now? Really try to push them to get on a call, because every single time I've tried to do a demo with them on the call there when they pick up, it never ends well. So what I'll typically say is like, yeah, I got to dash to my next meeting in like 10 minutes, so we won't have enough time, but let's just schedule something in for X time tomorrow or X time later today. You want to make sure they're actually prepared and there's a schedule meeting with them. So that is the outbound call script to use. So the action item for you to focus on is create your lead conversion scripts using the message here. So use this. So create your outreach scheduling scripts. So this is, let me just update this. Create your outreach scheduling scripts. So all you have to do is literally copy and paste these messages here so you have these handy. So whenever someone responds to your outreach, you just send them this chain here to get them booked in, and then create your outbound scripts as well. So if you have their phone number, use this script to call them and get them scheduled in. So have those two scripts created. So now you know what to do when someone actually replies with interest, and now you know how to actually get them booked onto your calendar. And then the final thing we can go over is creating your long-term farming scripts. So we went over your short-term follow-up scripts, and your short-term follow-up scripts were the ones that we went over, just bumping them and getting them to actually reply. Now what we need to do is we need to create our long-term follow-up scripts. So this is how we can continually follow up with our outreach leads until they book a meeting with us, because that way we're going to maximize the amount of people who actually respond and the clients we get from our outreach messages, because we want to consistently follow up with them, because people's circumstances change. They might not be interested in your services right now, but 30 days later or 90 days later, their circumstances might change where they really need your services. So we need to make sure we have a way to continuously follow up with them. Now, this strategy I'm going to share with you is where I actually got a lot, if not most of my meetings booked from my outreach strategy. So do not skip this part. So what I'd like to do is follow up every 30 days with the leads who don't reply. And the way I'm going to follow up with them every 30 days is, in the first strategy, I'm going to reach out with new testimonials, or I'm going to reach out with valuable content. So here's what this looks like. This was 100% the most effective method for me, was reaching out with new testimonials. So every single time I would get a new testimonial from someone in my niche, I would take that testimonial and send that to everyone who didn't reply to my initial outreach message and say, hey, I just got this new testimonial. Let me know if you're interested. And what ends up happening is every time you get a new testimonial and you send it their way, you're just going to get people who are just keep seeing these new case studies from you that they're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to reply to this guy and see what he has to offer, especially if they recognize one of your case studies. Then at that point, they are for sure, if they're interested, going to reply back to you. So here's what we're going to do. We can have, if we're sending a cold email, we could have a subject line like quick update. Again, if you're not sending a cold email and you're just sending a cold DM, don't worry about the subject line. We could just say, hey name, hope everything's going well on your end. Then we're going to add social proof. We just finished up working with Mike from Pumping Iron Gym, about 35 minutes out from your gym, and helped him get 42 members in the past 30 days. Then we're going to insert our offer. Want to reach out because we're looking to partner with a few more gym owners who have capacity to take on new members. If you're like any other gyms we worked with in the past, I understand you might be a bit skeptical, which is why we guarantee we can double your members in the next 60 days, or you don't pay. That way there's no risk on your end to try it out. Then we have our call to action. If you're interested, just shoot me a reply and I'll send you over the next steps. P.S. We're only looking to take a few gym owners in the area, so the sooner you get back to me, the better. So you can see here, we're reaching out with a new testimonial. We're saying, hey, we just finished up working with Mike and helped him get 42 new members in the past 30 days. Now, one other thing that we should probably add to this is we could say, you can check out his testimonial here. And you'd actually want to insert the link of your testimonial, so that way they can see it, right? So if it's not a testimonial, maybe it's a screenshot. You could also attach the screenshot, but you want to make sure that they can view that testimonial. So hopefully that makes sense in that social proof. That way they can actually view that video testimonial or see that testimonial up front and be like, okay, this is legit. And this way, every single time you get a testimonial, that's what I would do. Every time I would get a testimonial, every 30 to 60 days, I would reach back to all my leads with that testimonial. Every single time I would do this, I would get new meetings booked and new clients from it, because they would recognize one of my testimonials, at least one of them that I would reach out to and be like, okay, let's hop on a call, right? So if you do this correctly, you will get so many meetings and clients from this. And this is where a good chunk of your efforts and your meetings and your leads will come from your outreach. So make sure to do this. Again, every 30 days, you get a new testimonial, or whenever you get one, follow up with your outreach leads and send them this. The second long-term follow-up strategy is you could reach out with valuable content. So every 30 days, you could just send them a valuable piece of content where you could have a subject line like, thought you might like this. Say, hey name, then we're going to have immediate value. We've been working with a lot of gyms in the area, and we compiled a free report breaking down 5 of the most successful ads we've run to fill up gyms with new members. For context, these ads generated 450 new members in the past 90 days alone across our clients. Then we have a call to action. Want me to send you the report? Just shoot me a reply and I'll send it your way, right? So it's like a two-step. Then if they reply with interest, then we send the value. Just attached it in the email below, and then we state our irresistible offer. Also, we're looking to work with a few gym owners who want to double their gym members in the next 60 days with guaranteed results. If we don't double your gym in the next 60 days, you don't pay for it. That way there's no risk on your end to try it out. Then we have a call to action. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in? Tisu. And then if they reply, we get them scheduled in. So that is the ways we can follow up with prospects consistently over the long term. We can either reach out with new testimonials, or we can send them highly valuable content and lead magnets. And if they reply, we send it their way and then pitch our offer as well. So the action item that I want you to focus on is create your long-term follow-up scripts if you have any existing testimonials or valuable content assets. Like if you already have 3 testimonials, you could create 3 of these testimonial scripts right now that you can use, and every 30 days you could just send them over to your prospects or everyone who didn't reach out. So you have like 90 days worth of testimonial follow-ups already created if you already have those testimonials and case studies. And you're going to use the testimonial follow-up script whenever you receive a new testimonial, so you can reach out to all your outreach leads who didn't reply. And if you do this, you will get more people to reply to you. I promise you that. And you want to use the value content follow-up script when you create any lead magnets, so you can reach out to old leads who didn't reply. So that way you have a constant stream to follow up with your outreach leads over the long term. And if you stay on top of them, you're going to maximize the amount of leads you get. And don't worry, we're going to go into how to actually launch your outreach campaigns and all that. But for now, you just need to focus on creating your scripts. So I know there's a lot that we covered there. Just a quick refresher on everything that you need to create. So the first thing that we went over was creating your initial outreach scripts. This is the initial outreach message we're going to send someone to get them interested in our services. We went over 3 scripts: the 5-step direct offer script, the Loom video script, and the 2-step value script. The action item that you needed to complete was create your initial outreach scripts. And I wanted you to create at least 2 of the 3 mentioned above. Then you need to create your short-term follow-up scripts. So these are the 3 follow-up messages we're going to send in that same week if they do not reply. So these are the 3 messages here. So you need to make sure you create your short-term follow-up scripts. Then we went over creating our outreach scheduling scripts. So once they actually reply with interest, we need to schedule them into a sales call. So we have 3 messages that actually push them to book in a meeting with us. So make sure you have that complete. And we also went over, if we have their phone number on file, how to call them and what the script is to use to get them booked in. So the action item there was creating your outreach scheduling scripts and your outbound script as well, so you can call them if you have their number on file. And then we went over creating your long-term scripts, your long-term follow-up scripts. And we went over reaching out with new testimonials and reaching out with valuable content. So make sure you have those scripts created. So outline everything. I know that was a lot there, but once you have all that done, that's the hardest part. You have all your scripts created, and now we can start moving on to getting everything set up so we can start launching some of these campaigns. So make sure to get these action items done, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, in this lesson, I'm going to show you how to find leads to reach out to, and I'm going to share 4 different strategies you can use to find an endless supply of leads in your niche that you can reach out to and land as paying clients. So let's dive into it. So first, I'm going to go over paid options you can use to find leads, and then I'm going to go over free options you can use to find leads. So let's start with the paid options. And the paid options is using lead softwares. And lead softwares are by far the fastest and most efficient ways to find leads in your niche. And the way lead softwares work is they have a database with a bunch of different leads in your niche already, and they provide you the lead information, the contact information. You just have to pay a monthly subscription to get access to that information. So an example of that would be a lead software like D7 Lead Finder. D7 Lead Finder, if you're going after a local niche like dentists, chiropractors, or gyms, is your best bet. If you're going after e-commerce brands, Apollo works great. There's so many different lead softwares. So to show you what this looks like, I'm in D7 Lead Finder right now. You can see I made a search for gyms in Vancouver, British Columbia, and it automatically gives me all the contact information in one place. It gives me the name of the company, the phone number, the email address, and all their social media links, all in one location. And you can see all the results. This would have taken me a long time to manually get this information, but it gave me 383 entries in a few minutes. And all I have to do is download this as a CSV file, and I'll have all the contact information. And all I have to do to use D7 Lead Finder is I could just type in my niche that I'm in. So I can just type in gyms. I can choose the city, like New York, and I hit get leads, And with the click of a button in 3 minutes and 30 seconds, it's going to give me a huge list of leads automatically. So you can see how it saves me a ton of time. Now these are blurred out right now because I'm in the free option. I'm not on a paid user. I just want to show you this as an example. If you want to become a paid user, I believe it starts at about 61 Canadian a month or 74. Most of you are just going to need the $61 per month plan. I'm not affiliated by D7 Lead Finder. I just want to show you this as an example. And you can see you get 3,500 daily leads on this plan. That's more than enough. And that's going to save you a ton of time. So those are lead softwares. That is the steps there. If you want to save time and you have 60, 70 bucks a month, I would highly recommend using a lead software because it's going to save you a ton of time and you can be more efficient. So now let's go over some free options. Now I used free options initially. I totally understand if you don't have $60, $70 a month to start, but if you do, use the paid options. If you don't, we're going to go through 3 different free options. So we're going to start with just manually using Google search. And all we have to do is we get to go to our friend Google over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to type in just our niche and we're going to type in our location. So I could type in gyms in Vancouver. And when I type that in Google, I can go to the map section directly and I can see a bunch of businesses and gyms that are already going to show for me. And you can see I have their contact information and I can go to their website and scrape the information directly, which I'm going to show you how to do. I can also go through all the search results page by page to actually find gyms. But all I have to do here is to show you how this works is what we're going to do is we go to Google search, we type in our niche to find businesses, which we already did, and then we're going to go to their website to get their contact information manually and put that into this lead scraping sheet here. So I actually created a lead scraping sheet for you, and all we have to do is once we're in this lead scraping sheet is we can manually put in this information. So when I typed in gyms in Vancouver, I can go to the map section here. I can go through some of these here. And let's say I want to get the information of Spartacus Gym. I can open their website. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this. I'm going to take my lead scraping sheet. I'm going to put the company name as Spartacus Gym. Position here, I'll just put owner. Then we'll take the website here. We'll put the website like that. Then we'll grab their email. And the way we're going to grab their emails, it's typically at the bottom, like so. You can see it's right here, info@spartacusgym.ca. We're going to take that. We're going to paste that in here. We're also going to grab their phone number, which is right here, 604. Grab that. Thank you very much. Put that in. And we'll grab any social media links that are relevant. And usually their social media links are, maybe it's in the contact. Let's see. Looks like they don't have any social media links right now. I mean, I could go to Instagram and probably find it. But for this sake, it's usually on their website, but all you'd have to do is just go to Instagram, type in Spartacus Gym, and you'd likely find their social media pages as well. But in this case, all you really need is their phone number and their email for now. And if you want to get their social media links, we can go to Instagram, type in Spartacus Gym. Here we go. Yep. So we can grab this link, Spartacus Gym right here. This is the gym. We can take that and put in, here's their Instagram link. And we could do the same for Facebook, for example. But this is how we'd grab and manually put in their contact information. And we could do that for every single result that comes up on that Google search, right? When I typed in gyms in Vancouver, I would just manually scrape this information and put it in. And then we could create a lead list. The other method that we could do is we could use Instagram hashtags. So we can go directly to Instagram and we can type in something like Vancouver, well, we could just put in a hashtag like Vancouver gyms and a bunch of results should pop up. So all I have to do is click on one of these posts. Here's one, loaded athletics. I can click on that and we found a gym, right? And we can just manually scrape their information. So we can click on their website that's here. That's typically in their bio on their post. And we'll just manually scrape that information. So this is called loaded athletics. We'll put this in. It's owner. We'll grab the website link right here. Put that in. Then we'll grab the email. And again, their email's typically right at the bottom, just like so. You can see the email. We'll copy that. We'll put that in. Then we'll take the phone number as well, which is right here. Thank you very much. We'll take the phone number. We'll add the social media link, which is already attached. So we'll click that, grab that, and we'll put that in. So that's how we can use Instagram hashtags. I would recommend doing this on your phone to find them, because if you go on your desktop and you hit search and you just type in any gym, like let's just go back to that search that I had, which was hashtag Vancouver gyms. What ends up happening if you're on desktop is it doesn't show you all the search results. It kind of stops. So you want to make sure you use mobile. It'll give you more options. But apart from that, that's how we can use Instagram hashtags to find leads. The third option is we can use the ad library. This is one of my favorite. This is an option that you can use to find businesses in your niche that are already advertising that you can reach out to. So let's go here. What we're going to do is we're going to hit the Facebook ad library, which is already linked right here. It's going to be linked in this document. And by the way, this document and all the free course notes are going to be linked in the pinned comment and in the description. You can download this and get it all for free. So make sure to get access to that so you can follow along. Once we're in the ad library, we can just type in, looks like it's making us ask a category. We're just going to put this at all ads, and we can type in a keyword. So I can type in gym, Vancouver gym. I'll just type in Vancouver gym. And what that's going to do is it's going to show me a bunch of results of gyms that I can go after. Well, maybe this is, I guess this isn't put together here. So I can actually just type in gyms. This is probably, let's put this search like that. That'll be easier. And we'll let this load. So you just want to type in like a keyword, whether it's gyms, whatever your niche is, dentists. We'll wait for this to load. And we can see a bunch of gyms that show up that we can reach out to. So we have the OBF gym, Rock Gyms. This is one in Quebec. And once we see these, what we can do is we can go to any of them, the ones that actually allow us to click learn more. So we can see here, this one's French. We probably don't want the French option. So we'll just keep scrolling till we find one that we like. Here's one, Waverly Gym. So what I can do is I can click this link here. It's going to load and it'll take me straight to their website, and I can do the same thing. I can manually put them into our lead scraping sheet. So this is called Waverly Gym. And again, the beauty about this is these are people who already know the importance of advertising. They are already trying to advertise and they're likely not getting results. So if we reach out to them saying we can do a better job, they're usually open to it, or they're going to be more open to it. So next we're going to put in the position. We can just put that as owner again. Then we'll put in the website link. We'll grab the email. Which they're giving us a hard time getting their email. Looks like it's, well, here's their phone number. Grab the phone number. Sure, their email's in here somewhere. You can also get their social media links like so. Paste that in. Let's see if we can find their email on here. I'm sure it's somewhere. If it's not, sometimes you can't get it all. Questions. Yeah, I guess they don't actually give you an email option, at least in this site. Can't find their email. It might be somewhere on this page here, but I don't see it. It doesn't really matter. You get the point. You would go through this ad library to just find, and you can go through all these different options that pop up to actually come across gyms. And there's, over 3,000 plus results of leads in here that you could just manually scrape and put into your lead scraping sheet. So those are 3 options you can use to find leads for free. You can use Google search, you can use Instagram hashtags, and the ad library. Now, again, I recommend if you have the cash flow, get a paid subscription to a lead software. That will make things a lot easier. But if you can't, that's totally fine. I started off using the free options. I was just manually scraping leads on Google using Instagram hashtags. That's what I was doing. You can also use ad library. Just go through these and you'll have an endless supply of leads that you can find and reach out to. Now, again, this is a little bit of a tedious process, but you just have to will your way through it and do it every single day. So make sure to go through this. This is how you actually find leads. The action item I want you to focus on is figure out if you're going to use a paid lead software or if you're going to do it for free, whether it's Google search or Instagram hashtags or the ad library. Just write that down and write out how you're primarily going to get leads. Are you going to get a lead software or are you going to do it manually? Write that down, and once you have that, you might need to look around a little bit too to see like you can actually find your leads on Google search or the hashtags or your ad library. Do a little bit of research there, and then once you do that, you'll have a clear idea, and then you can narrow down which method you're primarily going to use to find leads. So go finalize that. That's the action I want you to focus on. So I'll just write this in here as well. So you have this, which is finalize the method you will use to find leads, either paid or free lead scraping methods. So that's the only thing I want you to focus on. So go ahead and do that. And once that's done, you now know how to find an unlimited supply of leads, and I'll see you in the next lesson. All right, in this lesson, we're gonna go over optimizing your cold outreach profile. And this step is so important because if our outreach profile is not optimized, we're not gonna get the amount of leads, meetings, and clients we could be getting from our outreach. So this is an essential step. So what you need to understand is when you send out an outreach message, what's gonna happen before someone responds back to you is they're typically gonna do a little bit of a background check. They're gonna check out your website, they're gonna see a picture of yourself, they wanna make sure that you're a real, legitimate person. If at any point they can't find your website, they don't know who you are, or you don't look legitimate, they're not going to respond to your outreach message. So we need to make sure that whichever outreach platform we're using, our profile is optimized and we look legitimate. So I'm going to show you how to do that if you're using cold email, as well as if you're going to be using Instagram or Facebook outreach. So let's start with optimizing our cold email profile. So what we need to make sure that we have have is you can see here, here's a test email that I did to myself. You can see this is what it would look like for a person. So the first thing that you notice is my profile picture. You can see I have a profile picture in my signature and in my just profile itself, a picture of my face that looks professional. This doesn't look like spam. It looks like a real person. You can see I'm not hiding myself. On top of that, you can see in my signature, I clearly state my name and my position. I also state my company, I state my phone number, and I also state my website. This all looks professional because when someone is going to see my cold outreach message, they're going to see this, my face here. They're going to see that I'm not scared to show my number. And on top of that, they're going to likely click on my website to do a little bit more research. And they can see when they go to my website, all the amazing clients that I worked with and what I've done. And it adds more credibility because they're likely going to go to my website first. And if they like what they see and I pass that credibility check, that's when they're going to go ahead and hit reply and actually respond back to me. So that's how the funnel typically works is they see your message, they read it, but then they're going to see all this stuff and they're going to do a little bit of a background checks. But if that doesn't check out or you look scammy or you don't look legitimate, they're not going to respond back to you. So you want to make sure here, going back here, you want to make sure you have a picture of yourself on your profile. You want to make sure you have a name and title, just like I have here, founder and CEO. You want to make sure you have your company name, scale with less in my case. You want to make sure you have your phone number and email. That would be good as well, which I have here. You want to make sure you have your website. And you want to make sure you have a real domain as well. You don't want to be sending from just like a random Gmail account. You want to make sure you have a real G Suite account that looks legitimate. That's what I would recommend. Now there's a tutorial that I attached on how to do this step by step to optimize your email signature. So you can do that. So make sure to watch this video here that's attached that will show you how to set up your cold email outreach profile properly so you can make it look nice and pretty like I did here. You want to make sure you get that done if you're doing cold email. The next thing I'm going to go over is optimizing your Instagram and Facebook outreach. So if you're going to be doing Instagram direct messages and that's what you're choosing and you're not doing cold email, we need to make sure that that profile is actually optimized. So a lot of the stuff applies the same. It's just a little bit different. So the first thing is I'm going to open up Instagram here. We're going to go to my profile. The first thing that we need to make sure we do is we need to make sure we have a professional profile picture. And you can see here, I have a nice professional profile picture and a headshot. So I look like a real person. The next thing, and just to take one step back as well, when someone sees your cold DM that you send someone, what they're going to do is they're going to creep your profile. They're going to, that's just human nature. They're going to check out your profile and they want to make sure that you're a real person and you look legit. So when we're doing this, that's why we need to make sure our profile is optimized. So the next thing that we need to do after we have a good profile picture is we need a strong bio. And in our bio, we need to state who you help, what our offer is, what our credibility is, and our website URL. So typically the structure I like to use here is helping niche get outcome in time frame with guarantee or risk reversal. So what this would look like is helping gym owners double their members in 60 days guaranteed. Then you could have some credibility of how many clients that you worked with. So I could say over 100 plus clients or whatever you have. And then you want to have, see how we can help you scale here. And then you'd insert your website. So it'd be like this, see how we can scale, see how we scale gyms here. So I would just take this once I've written this out, like so, take this, I'll go to my Instagram profile because this is the key real estate, is this stuff right here. This is what most people are going to look at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit edit profile. I'm going to update my bio here, just like so, hit submit. And once I do that, if I just go back to my profile here, you can see here, now my bio is updated. Helping gym owners double their members in 60 days guaranteed, over 100 plus clients, see how we scale gyms here. And then there's my website that's attached. So just like that, now I have a much stronger bio that when someone lands on my profile, they see my profile picture and they immediately see what we do and how we help. And this acts like a funnel. They see my offer statement, they see how many clients I worked with if I have that, and they can actually click on my website here and actually see my offer in more detail that's going to further sell them, and they can see all the case studies and results that we have. Again, this acts like a funnel. On top of that, you want to make sure you have relevant content as well. This would be a bonus. You don't need to have this, but I highly recommend having this if it's your primary outreach channel, is you want to make sure that you either have some nice pictures of yourself or ideally you have some short form content that demonstrates your expertise, where you're actually maybe sharing tips on how you can help people in your niche grow using ads or whatever your service is. Like in my profile here, if I was going after gyms and that was my niche that I was focusing on, I would actually have maybe some videos or some tips on how to actually grow your gym that were actually attached onto it. So when someone actually lands on my profile, they see this and they can see some valuable content right away, and they'll be like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about, or these are some valuable tips. So ideally you want to have some relevant content. And the next thing is followers. If you don't have any followers on your Instagram, like if you're choosing Instagram as your primary outreach channel, but you have like 2 followers or 3 followers, it's not going to be a good look. It's just going to look like a bot and they're likely not going to respond back to you. So what I would highly recommend you do if you don't have any followers or you're just starting an Instagram account is you could just pay for some followers here for cheap. You can just use a service like Upgrow. They're relatively cheap. You can see the pricing here. It's like $29 a month and they'll get you 1,000 to 1,500 real followers. You can use something like this for just a monthly service to just get your first 1,000 or 1,500 followers or whatever, just to have a little bit of credibility. And then you can stop paying for the service if it's going to be your primary outreach channel. Because again, people are going to make a snap judgments once they see your outreach profile. And if you have like 10 followers or you have maybe 100 followers, but you're following like 10,000 people, it's not going to be the best look. So you want to make sure you have more followers than who you're following, and you have that credibility there. So onto your Facebook or Instagram outreach profile, you have a professional profile picture, you have a strong bio that's attached with who you help, your offer statement, your credibility, you have relevant content, and you have followers that's attached as well. And if you're using cold email, you have a picture of yourself, you have a name and title in your signature, you have your company name, your phone number, your website, your real domain. And again, we've attached a tutorial on how to do this. I'll just show you this one more time. This is what it looks like on an email signature, profile picture, all the details down here. And then on an Instagram profile, we have a good headshot. We have our description here. And then we'd want to make sure as well we have some relevant content that's good, which I don't have in this case because I'm not going after gym owners. But if that was my primary outreach channel, that is what I would be doing, and that's what I'd recommend. So the action item I want you to focus on that is attached here, that I'm writing out live, is complete and optimize your cold outreach profile. So if you're using cold email as your primary channel, follow these steps here, watch the tutorial so you get that done. If you're going to be using Instagram outreach or or Facebook outreach as your method, follow the steps here and actually get those done. Make sure you have all the stuff here, and then you'll be good to go. So go ahead and get that done. Optimize your cold outreach profile, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, in this lesson, we're going to go over setting your outreach targets and metrics. And the target I want you aiming for in the beginning is 50 outreach messages every single day at bare minimum. So every single day, you're reaching out to 50 prospects in your niche. So that's a total of 1,500 outreach messages every single month. And the goal with these 50 outreach messages per day is to validate your outreach message converts and know how many outreaches you need on average to get a client. Your number one focus in the beginning is to know how many outreach messages you need on average to land a client. Because once you know that number, getting clients becomes very easy. So let's say, for example, you know for every 1,000 outreach messages you send, you land 1 client. If you want 5 clients every single month, that means you need to send 5,000 outreach messages. It becomes a very simple math equation. So the sooner you can figure out that number of how many outreach messages you need to send to land a client, getting clients becomes very easy. But that's the hardest part because we need to validate our outreach message and stay consistent with our outreach until we know that number. And what we're aiming for, our target outreaches per client, is ideally we're getting 1 client for every 1,000 outreach messages we send. If we can get under that and below that, that's even better. At minimum, we're getting 1 client for every 1,500 outreach messages we send. If we can stay within these ranges, that means our outreach message is converting and we can begin scaling it. Now, what actually is required, if you're wondering, okay, like what is required to actually get 1 client for every 1,500 outreach messages? Let me show you. These will actually act as metrics for you and baselines for you to stay towards. So if you send 1,500 outreach messages per month, which is 50 outreach messages every single day, that's 1,500 outreach messages per month. Now, if 3% of them, which is an engaged reply rate, so if 3% of them reply back to your outreach message with interest, 3%, that gives you 45 engaged leads. And engaged leads are people who reply back with interest in your outreach message. Now, if your booking rate is 30%, and your booking rate is what percentage of the people who actually reply with interest you schedule into a call is 30%, that gives you 14 booked calls. Now you're going to know your outreaches per meeting is 107. So for every 107 outreach messages you send, you get 1 meeting booked. That's a very important number to know, because now you know for every 107 outreach messages you send, on average, you get 1 meeting booked. That's great. Now you know your input that's required to get a booked call. Now let's say your show up rate is 70%, which is how many of these meetings actually show up to that call with you. That gives you 10 showed up calls. Now, if your closing rate is 10%, which means you close and convert 1 out of every 10 people into a paying client, that gives you 1 client. So looking at this, that gives you 1 client for every 1,500 outreach messages you send. So what you need to look at here is these act as ranges. You want to try to get an engaged reply rate of 3%. You want your booking rate at least 30%. So 30% of people who reply with interest, you want to actually schedule onto a call. You want to have a minimum 70% show up rate and a closing rate of at least 10%. And if you can do that, you'll be within your ranges of landing one client for at least every 1,500 outreach messages you send. And if you do that, you have an outreach message that can scale. But just a quick recap, what I really want you focusing in on is sending 50 outreaches per day minimum. And your only focus, your main priority right now is knowing how many outreaches you need on average to get a client and staying within these benchmarks. If you can get one client for every 1,000 outreaches, amazing. If you can get one client for every 1,500 outreaches, great. You're within your benchmarks here and we can begin scaling it. And then it becomes a simple input and output equation. You want 5 clients every single month and it takes you on average 1,000 outreach messages to get a client. You need to send 5,000 outreach messages and it becomes a whole lot easier from there once we know these metrics. So hopefully that gives you clarity on how many outreach messages you need to send. So now that you're clear on that, we'll go over how to actually launch and send your outreach campaigns. So I'll see you in the next lesson. All right, in this lesson, we're gonna go over launching your cold outreach campaigns. And I'm gonna walk you through step by step exactly how to send out your minimum 50 outreach messages per day. And I'm gonna show you how to launch your outreach campaigns on cold email, if that's your primary outreach channel. And I'm also gonna show you how to launch your outreach campaigns on Instagram, if that's your primary outreach platform. So let's start with cold email first. And we're gonna go over 2 options for cold email. Option number 1 is using a cold email software, which is a paid solution. And this is what I recommend because it's gonna save you a lot of time and have better tracking. But if you can't use a paid option, which is totally fine, we're gonna go over option number 2, which is sending out cold emails manually, which is a free option because I understand some of you don't have the cash flow for tools and softwares just yet. That's totally fine. I didn't either when I first started and I sent everything out manually. So let's go through the first option first, which is using a cold email software. Again, this is what I recommend. So step number 1, we need to buy a new domain and email address. And the reason I recommend buying a new domain and email address for your cold emails is because we don't want to risk having our primary domain for our agency get blacklisted. Because if we're doing cold emails and for whatever reason we get reported to spam and our domain gets blacklisted and you're using your primary domain that's linked to your agency, then your whole website can go down and that primary domain for your agency is going to get blacklisted. And we don't want that to happen. So to avoid that, what we want to do is buy another domain that's similar to our primary domain that we can use for cold email. For example, if your main website is scalewithless.com, that's my main website, I would buy an alternate domain like scalewithless.org or scalewithless.net or scalewithless.io. Those are specific for cold email. So all you have to do is take the domain of your agency and change it from a .com to a .org to a .net to a .io. Anything like that works. So I've attached a full tutorial that I made on buying a domain. It's linked here. It's very easy. Shouldn't take you longer than 5 minutes to do that. And once you have your domain bought, you need to get your new business email set up on G Suite as well. So I attached a tutorial that I made on setting up a business email. That again should take you no longer than 5 to 10 minutes. So once you have that complete, step number 2 is we're going to create a Lemlist account. Now Lemlist is a software we're going to use to manage and send our cold emails. This is what I recommend to start. So we're going to go ahead and create a Lemlist account. It's going to take you here. You can start with the 14-day trial, but you can also pay for it. I believe the pricing on it is about $50 to $60 per month. But let's actually go through setting this up. Now, I already have a Lemlist account, so I'm not going to go through this again. I'm just going to download it and log in. So once we're in here, what we have to do is we have to get our account setup complete. So we have to set up our email provider. This is what allows you to send emails. And we want to get Lemwarm set up as well. That improves your deliverability. So what Lemwarm does is it basically increases your email deliverability so you don't land in spam. It's an automatic tool that they have with their software. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit my email provider. It says not connected. We're going to go ahead and connect that. So I'm going to click connect a new email address. It's going to be over Google and Gmail. We're going to select our domain. We're going to hit allow, wait for this to load, and it looks fine. It says this is attached. It's just giving us a warning. It says we have some DNS errors. We don't need to worry about this for now. We can exit out of here, but now we have our email provider connected and good to go. Once we have our email provider connected and good to go, the next step that we're going to do is get Lemwarm set up. So this is Lemwarm right here. I'm not going to go through this process right now because there's a couple steps that are involved with it that you need to verify, but all you have to do is go to Lemwarm here. It's going to open it up. and you just have to go through the plan, connect your email provider, and start Lemwarm. So just follow the instructions in this 5-minute tutorial here, and that'll show you how to get Lemwarm set up. I recommend getting that done. But once you have your email provider set up and Lemwarm set up, you now have everything you need to actually start sending out your campaigns. So let's walk through how to do this. So we're gonna go to Lemlist here. Under dashboard, we're gonna hit campaigns. We're gonna create a new campaign. So we're gonna click that, hit create a new campaign here. Then once we're here, we're going to hit create manually. Then once we're on create manually, we're gonna put steps. We're gonna select email. And this is what's gonna allow us to actually put in our outreach email and our steps here. So let's walk through this. First thing is the sender for email. The sender we're gonna put is you should have one email once your email's set up here. So you're gonna go ahead and select that. Then we wanna put the subject line of our email. So we should already have our outreach copy created. So we're gonna take that, and the subject line is hey name. So I'm just gonna put hey, and I'm gonna put add custom variable, which is first name with an exclamation mark. And this custom variable allows you to input the lead's first name, so it's personalized to them. Then we're gonna write the content of the email. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this here, copy this, and paste it, just like that. And in this hey name column, I'm gonna add personalization, add the first name. So anything that says name, we're gonna replace with a custom variable, which is the prospect's first name. Now there's some parts here like company and company that aren't filled out. Again, this is just a test email, that's why I didn't fill these in, but I just wanna show you the process. Then once we've done that, and this is good to go, we can preview it, but we don't need to do that just yet. But this is all good. We can then hit next step. Actually, we can add another email as well. So I'm going to actually put in the follow-up emails as well so you can see these, because if you remember, there's 3 follow-up emails which we should have created. So I'm going to take that follow-up email. We don't need the subject line because this is just going to go to, it's just going to go in the same thread as the first email we're sending out. So the copy is right here. We're going to take that, paste that in, change this name here to first name. That's good to go. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add another email. This says wait for 1 day, but we're actually going to wait for 2 days here. So we're going to change this to wait for 2 days. Bingo. And then this next email, we're going to copy and paste this right here. Change this name, personalization, first name. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add our final one, which is we're going to wait 3 more days, and that's our last call. So we're going to change this from 1 day to 3 days. And we're going to update our email here. Copy this, paste that in, put this personalization as first name, and make sure everything looks good, and that's all good to go. So we have our email sequence set up. Then we're gonna go to our next step. Then what we have to do is we have to import our list of leads. So if we are getting 50 leads per day that we wanna outreach to, we wanna make sure that we actually have our leads ready to go. So what I recommend you do is you create a lead list of your 50 leads every single day that you want to reach out to into a Google Sheet like so, where you have their first name, their last name, their email, and you would have a personalized you'd have a compliment section, which again is optional, but if you have a compliments that you're doing for your prospects, you would add that in another column as well. In this example, I don't have those compliments, so I'm just going to keep first name, last name, and the email of the prospect. Now, what I recommend you do is every day find at least 50 leads to send out, and if you get into the schedule, basically every other day, or the leads that you find today are going out for your campaign tomorrow. So hopefully that makes sense. But all you have to do is every day find out 50 leads and put them into your lead list here. Then once we have the lead list, we're going to download the CSV file. So we're going to hit file, then we're going to download, and we are going to download that as a CSV file. That's going to load up here. We're going to go back into Lemlist. We're going to hit import from CSV, and we're just going to drag this sucker in like so. We're then going to hit continue, and we're going to make sure all the fields are correct. So first name, this is right. Last name, this is right. And email, this is correct, right? So it's just making sure that it's basically making sure these columns are right. So first name, last name, email, and Lemlist has those columns all correct. So we're going to hit continue here. Then once we're here, we can hit import our 48 leads. And that has put all of our leads in here. There's 48 leads that are in. We can also, sometimes there's an enrich filter that, we could hit enrich 48 leads if we want. What this is going to do is it's going to verify these leads to make sure that they're correct and they're actually going to get delivered. So if we hit enrich and verify these 48 leads, we can click that. This is going to take a minute or two to load, so I'll just meet you back once this is being enriched. Okay, so just like that, it looks like it verified the leads, and you're going to see some of these emails here say undeliverable, right? It says don't send, it will likely bounce, making your emails land in spam. So all the ones that are undeliverable, I'm just going to take these and delete these. So you can see there's quite a bit in this example here, but I'm just going to go ahead and delete this lead, delete this lead. Now I'm just going to delete all of these leads, and then it'll come back once I've done these, because you don't need to watch me delete all these manually. All right, so I've gone ahead and deleted those leads, and that leaves me with 39 leads left. So what I'd recommend, if you have a lot that you had to delete and you're under 50, just find another 10 leads and import them again until you have 50 leads that you can reach out to. Then once this is all set up, we're going to hit next step, and it has all of our emails here, which we can review. This all looks good. So then what we're going to do is we have to review all these leads. So we're going to select these leads here. We're then going to hit review 39 leads. So now that all the leads have been reviewed, everything's set up, and all we have to do is hit the review and launch button. I'm not going to launch these campaigns because this is just a test campaign, but in your case, you would hit review and launch. It'll take you to a part where you can select your times that you want to launch at and just hit launch and send. And just like that, your 50 cold emails have been sent out using Lemlist, and it's going to track the performance end to end and make things really easy. So that is using Lemlist. So all you have to do is, once you've done that, you're going to rinse and repeat that process every single day. So you're going to import your leads and send out the campaign. And Lemlist is going to do this all for you. So you don't have to do it manually. You just have to get your leads, send out the campaign, and you're done for the day. So it's going to save you a lot of time. That's why I recommend using a tool like Lemlist, because it's going to save you a ton of time, and Lemlist also tracks the performance of your campaigns for you in one central location. So that's using Lemlist. The next option we can have is we can send out cold emails manually. So if you can't use Lemlist, we can just send out our cold emails manually, which is for free. So all we have to do for this is, step number one is we're going to open up our Gmail account. Once we're in our Gmail account here, then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hit compose, and we're going to open our lead scraping sheet, which should have all of our leads in it that we've already manually scraped. Once we're in our lead scraping sheet, step number 3 is we're going to grab a contact from our lead scraping sheet. So let's say I want to reach out to our friend Tony Martins. So I'm going to grab his email, put it into here. I'm going to put in my subject line of my email, which I should already have, which is hey name. So it'd be hey Tony. Then I'm going to grab my email, copy this, paste it in, update hey name to hey Tony. Just a quick question. Now, obviously, there's some places here that are left blank because this is a test. So I'm just going to modify this. We built these funnels out for a bunch of gyms in the area, and I think we could get 2. And this looks all good. Once our email's all set, what we can do then is we enter our subject line, which we've already pasted in, which was hey name. We can create a 1 to 2 sentence personal compliment for the lead that we're reaching out to. So what we can do here to actually get a personal compliment, this is optional, but all we have to do to get a personalized compliment is we have to do a little bit of research. So we just go to the company's website. Once we're in the website section, what I recommend is you're typically going to start at the homepage, hit the About Us, and usually if you hit the Our Story or something about the gym, there's usually going to be the history or a little bit of context about who the founder is, why they started the company, anything like that that we can use for a personalized compliment. So if we read this, it says, he's the owner. Tony, he has competed in over 100 competitions. He won the New Zealand Bodybuilder of the Year in 2000, right? So there's a lot of stuff we can pull at. I already looked at this earlier, so the compliment is I already have, which I'm just going to say, first off, had a chance to look at your bio. You have quite the impressive resume. Congratulations on winning the New Zealand Bodybuilder of the Year in 2000. So I would just take that and I could just paste that in the first sentence as my compliment. Now, again, this is optional, but once we have that compliment, this is all set. Everything's all good to go. And all we have to do from here is we send out our email. So we go ahead and click send. So that's just manually sending it out, and that's good to go. And we would just rinse and repeat that exact same process for 50 prospects and get it done. Now, what I recommend is you wouldn't typically want to do this in just one sitting. It's sending 50 one by one. You might want to scatter maybe 10 every single hour or 15 every single hour, because if you do 50 all at once, it could flag your Gmail account if you're doing it manually. So I would recommend just kind of sparsing it out every 1 to 2 hours, like 15 at a time, and you should be good to go and fine on that side. So that is sending out your cold emails manually. So we've went over how to use a software like Lemlist, and we've gone over how to send it out manually. So now you know how to actually send out all your cold emails. Again, you just rinse and repeat this process until 50 messages are sent manually. So now that we've gone over launching your cold email campaigns, let's go over how to launch your Instagram outreach campaigns. And this is very straightforward. Step number 1 is we're going to open up our Instagram account. Once we're in our Instagram account here, we're going to go ahead and open up our lead scraping sheet. Once we're in our lead scraping sheet here, you should already have all of your contacts that you want to reach out to filled out. Step number 3 is we're going to grab a contact from your lead scraping sheet and find their Instagram profile. So let's say I want to reach out to our friend Tony Martins here. I'm going to open up his Instagram, which we should already have linked up. We're going to open this. Once this is loading, we have his profile up and running. Then we can move on to step number 4, which is optional, which is creating a 1 to 2 sentence personal compliment for the lead we're reaching out to. So all we have to do to get a personalized compliment is we can either look at their website about section or look at their social media for any inspiration. So I'm just going to go to Tony's website here. And typically under the About Us section, you're going to start at the homepage, but if you just go to the About Us or the Our Story, you're going to find out lots of details about the founder, why they started the company. You can see here in this case, you could see with Tony, he's competed in over 100 competitions and he's won the New Zealand Bodybuilder of the Year in 2000. So that's a great compliment, and we can use that as a personalized compliment. You can see here I have this as written as a compliment. First off, had a chance to look at your bio. You have quite the impressive resume. Congratulations on winning the New Zealand Bodybuilder of the Year in 2000. So I have my compliment. Then step number 5 is we're going to hit the message button on their profile, just like so. And once we're in the message section, we're actually just going to paste our outreach message and send out the DM. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up my outreach message, which I have linked right here. And let's paste this in. So I could say, hey, Tony, quick question. This is all good. We don't really need to sign off with our name here because there's no point, because this is over an Instagram DM. And we can add in our personal compliment as well as the first sentence. So we'll take this and we're good to go. And just like that, we can go ahead and hit send and our message is sent. It's really that simple. And all we have to do from here is we just rinse and repeat that process until we reach out to 50 people. So rinse and repeat that until 50 are done. And again, what I would recommend here is to send out about 10 to 15 every hour or two. You don't want to just send 50 at once. Your account can get flagged. So I would sparse it out, right? So 10 to 15 every single hour until you reach the limit of 50. Now, depending on your account, Instagram might only give you a limit of 30. Typically you have 50, but just if you run into that, you might need to create another Instagram account, which I'm going to go over in the scaling your outreach section. So just if you run into that issue, just go to the scaling your outreach video and I'm going to show you how to get another Instagram account as well. So those are the steps for sending out your Instagram outreach. It's really that straightforward. It's as simple as that. And you just want to do this until 50 outreaches per day are done. So the action items on both of these that I want you to focus on is if you're launching cold email, select if you're going to be using a cold email software like Lemlist. This is what I recommend if you have the cash for it. It's going to save you a ton of time and keep everything in one area. Or option number 2, are you going to send out your cold emails manually? So just select if you're going to do it manually or use a paid software like Lemlist. And then if you're doing things with Instagram outreach, just follow these action steps here. So again, if you're using cold email, select if you're going to be using a cold email software or if you're going to do it manually, and then start sending your 50 messages every single day. So your action item here is send out your 50 outreach messages every single day and review your progress after 30 days. So I don't want you doing anything else. I just want you to put your head down and send 50 outreach messages per day for 30 days. That is the only thing that should be on your mind, because that's going to allow you to send 1,500 outreach messages. And from there, hopefully you've landed a client and we can begin scaling. If not, we're just going to do a different stage, which we're going to cover in our next video. So all you have to do, put your head down, 50 outreaches per day for 30 days. Now, if you're doing Instagram outreach, follow the action items listed out here and do 50 outreaches per day for 30 days. This is your only focus. 50 outreaches per day at bare minimum for 30 days, and then review your progress. So now that you're clear on everything, go launch your campaigns, send out your minimum 50 outreach messages, and I'll see you in your next video. All right, in this lesson, we're gonna go over assessing your results after 30 days of outreach. And the objective here is after sending out 50 outreach messages per day for a minimum of 30 days, for a total of 1,500 outreach messages, we wanna review our progress and know our next steps. And there's really only gonna be 2 possible outcomes after you've sent out 1,500 outreach messages. And outcome number 1 is your outreach is not resonating, and outcome number 2 is your outreach is converting and resonating. So let's start with the first outcome, which is your outreach is not resonating. So if you've booked less than 5 meetings or landed no clients after 1,500 outreach messages, you need to enter the optimization phase. And this is where we figure out which part of our outreach is not working and we fix it accordingly, and then we retry. We send another 1,500 outreach messages, and if we can land a client and we're within our ranges of landing 1 client for every 50 1,500 outreach messages, or ideally under 1,000 outreach messages with our new optimization, we're good. We've now fixed it and we've optimized it. So that's outcome number one. If you book less than 5 meetings or landed no clients, you're going to enter the optimization phase. And don't worry, we have a full video on that, on how to optimize your campaigns. Outcome number 2 is your outreach is converting. So if you've converted a client after 1,500 outreach messages, we can now begin scaling our outreach as our outreach message is converting at our targets. And if that's the case, congratulations. That is the hardest part, getting your first client from your outreach. And if you've done that, you've validated your outreach message because you're within your targets. You've landed one client for every or under 1,500 outreach messages or under 1,000. That would be amazing. If you landed multiple clients, that is a great sign. Now you can begin scaling it because you know how many outreach messages you need to send to land one client. And now we can begin scaling to see if things are going to hold and you have a scalable outreach message. And that's when it gets a lot of fun. So all you need to do for now, your action item, is identify if you're in the optimization phase or the scaling phase with your outreach campaigns. Again, you're in the optimization stage if you booked less than 5 meetings or landed no clients. Then what we need to do is we need to fix our outreach campaigns and try it again. If you've converted a client, you're going to be in the scaling phase, and now we're going to start ramping up our outreach to bring in even more clients. So that's the action item. Identify if you're in the optimization phase or the scaling phase. So once you've done that, I'll see you in the according video. All right, in this lesson, we're gonna go over optimizing your cold outreach campaigns. So after you sent a minimum of 1,500 outreach messages and you have less than 5 meetings booked and no clients, here's how we identified the bottleneck so we can fix that in our outreach campaigns and try again and hopefully get our outreach campaigns converting at our targets. So the first bottleneck you can run into is an open rate bottleneck. And this is only gonna apply to you if you're doing cold email. If you're doing cold direct messages, you're not gonna be able to see your open rate because there's no subject lines. So here's how you know you have an open rate bottleneck, is if your open rates are below 30%, you have an open rate bottleneck. And that's a problem because that means 70% of people aren't even seeing your outreach message. And if that's the case, it's going to be hard for you to get your outreach working because most people aren't seeing your message. So we need to increase that open rate. So here's how we're going to do that. We're going to test a new subject line. So what I've done for you is I put together a list of 30 of my favorite subject lines that you can test and use. Now make sure to go to the pinned comment or the description below to get access to the free course notes so you can have access to that document. So you're going to test the new subject line. If you're also noticing you're getting a lot of bounces and your emails are not going through and you have low deliverability, you need to scrape better leads. That means the leads you're scraping are not valid. So you want to use a lead verifying tool like hunter.io. And what hunter.io is going to do is it's going to verify your leads for you to make sure they're active and your leads are not going to bounce if you send them out. So that's what you want to do. If your open rates are below 30%, test a new subject line. And if you're getting a lot of bounces, you need to scrape better leads and verify your leads using a tool like hunter.io. The next bottleneck you can run into is you have a low engaged reply rate. So if less than 3% of people are replying to your outreach message with interest, that means that your outreach message that you're sending is not compelling. It's not resonating with your niche and your market. So the action item we need to focus on is we need to create a new outreach script and test it for another 1,500 outreach messages. So go back to the lesson where we go over creating your outreach scripts and create another outreach script to test. Make your copy more concise, make your offer more compelling, make it more simple to understand. Really focus on having better copy on your outreach message and try it again. This is an iterative process. So the action item there is if less than 3% are replying to your outreach message, create a new outreach script to test and see if you can get it above 3%. The next bottleneck is a booking rate bottleneck. So if less than 30% of people who are replying with interest are booking a call, then that means you have a booking rate bottleneck. And what that means is if less than 30% of people who reply with interest are booking a call, that means your follow-up is not very good to actually get them scheduled in. So the action item that you need to focus on is you want to increase your follow-up frequency for leads who reply with interest who don't book a call. So that means send more follow-up emails. I know in the structure that we went over, we said 3 follow-up emails, but add more. Follow up with them more aggressively. Try calling them multiple times. If you're not calling your leads right now because you're too scared, try calling them. You're going to get more people who are actually going to book in if you call them. The next thing you can do is you can message them on multiple platforms. So when someone responds saying they're interested, but they ghost you on email, you can find their Instagram or you can find their LinkedIn and message them on there. Try contacting them on multiple platforms until you can get them booked in. So again, we want to make sure we can get at least 30% of people or more to book in who reply with interest. And the way we can do that is we can send more follow-up emails, call them multiple times if we have their number, and message them on multiple platforms. The next bottleneck you can run into is a show-up rate bottleneck. So if less than 50% of people are showing up to your calls and you've booked more than 20 calls, that means you have a show-up rate bottleneck. We need to get more people showing up to your calls. Now, I understand this isn't going to apply to most of you. Most of you are going to have an open rate, engaged reply rate, or booking rate bottleneck, but I want to show you how to handle it if you're getting calls booked, but people are not showing up consistently. So here's how we're going to handle that. We've created a tool for you called the Show-Up Rate Booster Checklist that goes over 7 different strategies and tools that you can use right away to increase your show-up rate. Once I apply these, I was able to really get my show-up rate up on my funnels and my outreach. So make sure to apply these. Actually, there's way more than 7. There's about 9 different strategies that you can use here to boost your show-up rate. I include the scripts and templates to use there, so make sure to include that. So if your show-up rate is less than 50% and you've had at least 20 book calls, make sure to install the show-up rate boosters in this document here. And then the final bottleneck you can run into is a closing rate bottleneck. So if your closing rate is less than 10% over 20 conducted calls, we need to dial in our sales skills, because people are booking in a call, you just suck at sales. You're not able to actually convert them into a paying client. So the way we're going to fix that is, if you feel like right now you don't have a structured, proven sales script, like you're just winging it or going with the flow, that's costing you deals. You need to make sure you have a structured sales script that you can rely on, that you can use no matter what mood you're in. When you have a dialed in sales script or sales process, you can close clients when you're like half asleep. So the sales script to use, if we've actually created a full training for you that you can open, that has a video of me breaking down a sales script and the structure that you can model step by step, and a script that you can use to actually convert clients. I've used this to close hundreds of clients. You can model it and put it together for your niche and offer. So if you don't have a structured sales process, use the sales script training. If you're struggling to handle objections, you notice at the end of the call, you get price objections or think about it objections, and you don't know how to handle it at all, you need to focus on objection handling and get your objection handling more in. Now, granted, if you're getting a lot of objections towards the end of the call, it's likely because your sales structure and your script also isn't very good. But if you're noticing you're getting the same objections and you have no idea how to handle it, here's how you can handle those objections. We have a full training that goes over me handling objections, how to focus on it, and then goes through multiple different ways to handle the most common objections you're going to get. So make sure to watch that. That is a full, I think 30-40 minute training of me just knocking down objections. So make sure to go through that. So that's how you handle a closing rate bottleneck. So again, if your closing rate's less than 10% over 20 conducted calls, those are the action items to focus on. Now, I know up here we say after you send a minimum of 1,500 outreach messages and you have less than 5 meetings and no clients, here's how to identify the bottleneck. Now, the first 3 that we went over, the open rate bottleneck, the engaged reply rate bottleneck, and the booking rate bottleneck, those are the 3 most common that you're going to have. But once you do outreach later on as well and you get the hang of it, you might also run into the show-up rate bottleneck and the closing rate bottleneck. And this typically happens where you're getting calls booked, but you have more of a sales process issue. So I wanted to include these as well, because if you do encounter them, I want to make sure you have the tools and resources to fix any bottleneck you're going to run into with your outreach campaign. So this is going to be a very valuable resource. Make sure to refer back to this. Now, the action item I want you to focus on with your outreach campaigns is identify your current bottleneck in your outreach campaigns and apply the appropriate action item, and test your next round of outreach messages. So all you have to do is identify if you have an open rate bottleneck, an engaged reply rate bottleneck, a booking rate bottleneck, a show up rate bottleneck, or a closing rate bottleneck, then apply the action item that I've attached, and then try your outreach again. Apply it and see if now your outreach is within your targets and it's converting. So go get that done, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, in this lesson, we're gonna cover how to scale your outreach campaigns. And I'm super excited for this lesson because if you're watching this, you've validated that your outreach message is converting, and now you're ready to start scaling it up to get more clients and more meetings. And I'm gonna show you step by step exactly how to do that. Now, this video, there's gonna be a lot we're gonna cover. We're gonna do a little bit of math here, but you need to watch this if you're serious about scaling, because if you understand what I'm going to share, you're going to have more clients than you know what to do with. So that being said, let's dive into it, and we'll start with part number 1, which is setting our scaling targets. So again, at this point, you've validated your outreach is converting, and you should know the following data. The first metric that you should know, that's the most important, is the number of outreach messages it takes for you to sign up a client. And again, this needs to be under 1,500 outreach messages per client. The second metric you should know is the number of outreach messages messages it takes to book a meeting. Once you have these metrics, all we have to do is reverse engineer how much revenue and clients we want, and then it's very easy for us to figure out how much outreach we need to do. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So step number one, we need to identify the goal from our outreach. So this is where you want to set a target of how much new revenue you want every single month and how many clients you want every single month. So let's say your target is to get to $10,000 per month in new monthly reoccurring revenue. And let's say your average client pays you $2,500 per month. That means you need to get 4 clients per month, because 4 times $2,500 is $10,000 per month in new monthly reoccurring revenue. So now we have a target goal. Then step number 2 is you want to identify your current baselines. So first we need to get our outreach sending metrics. So let's say in this example, on average, it takes you 1,500 outreach messages to land a client. And for every 100 outreach messages you send, you get a call. And your funnel metrics from your outreach is your closing rate is currently 10%, your show up rate is 70%, your booking rate is 30%, and your engaged response rate is 3%. Now, if you're lost on these metrics, refer to the lesson setting your outreach targets and metrics. But just a quick refresher, your closing rate is what percentage of your meetings you convert into clients. Your show up rate is what percentage of the meetings you booked actually show up to the call. Your booking rate is what percentage of the engaged leads you get from your outreach actually schedule a meeting with you. And your engaged response rate is what percentage of leads actually respond to your initial outreach messages. So those are your funnel metrics. You need to make sure you have your current baseline. Then once you've identified your current baseline, step number 3 is we're going to set our projections to reach our $10,000 per month target in this hypothetical example. And it's going to be very black and white. So if we want to get to $10,000 per month, that means we need to send 6,000 outreaches every single month. And the way we got that is if on average we get 1 client for every 1,500 outreach messages we send, and we need 4 clients, and that's our target, we just have to do 1,500 times 4 gives us 6,000. So now we know exactly how many outreach messages we need to send. You can see this is a simple math equation. Now for engaged response rate is 3%, which we have from here based on our historic data. If we send 6,000 outreaches at a 3% response rate, that gives us 180 engaged leads. Now, if we have a 30% booking rate, that gives us 54 calls booked. And if we have a 70% show up rate, that gives us 38 calls booked. Now, if our closing rate is 10%, that gives us roughly 4 clients. And again, if our client value is $2,500 per month, now we hit our $10,000 per month in monthly reoccurring revenue. So you can see once we have these numbers, it just becomes a simple math equation. And it's really beautiful when you see it all come together like that. So the action item I want you to do is set your scaling outreach projections. And all you have to do is complete step 1, step 2, and step 3, and you're going to have all the projections you need to hit to reach your outreach targets. So now that you know what volume and targets are needed to reach your goal, what we have to do now is build the infrastructure required to send that volume of outreach. And we're going to do that by hiring people and increasing our tech capacity to be able to do that required volume of outreach. So let's dive into how to do that. So part number 2 is we're going to build our scaling infrastructure. So the first thing we have to do is hire lead generation specialists to do the outreach for you. So if we need to send 6,000 outreach messages every single month in this hypothetical example, that's roughly 200 outreach messages every single day. And you likely are not going to be able to do 200 outreach messages a day by yourself. So now what we get to do is we get to introduce leverage and hire someone to do the outreach for us. And these people are called lead generation specialists. And what they're going to do is they're going to find leads, scrape leads, and send out your outreach messages for you so you don't have to worry about it. Now, one lead generation specialist should be able to scrape and send 3,000 outreach messages every single month, so about 100 per day. So if we need to scale to 6,000 outreach messages per month in this example, we need to hire 2 lead generation specialists, because again, one lead generation specialist can send out 3,000 outreaches per month. If we need 6,000, we need 2 of them. Now, the good news for you is the average salary for an outreach specialist is about $500 per month. And I'm going to show you step by step how to hire one of these people. But how we're going to hire them is we're going to go overseas to the Philippines. So what we're going to do to hire an outreach specialist is we're going to post on Online Jobs PH. Now, what Online Jobs PH is, this is Online Jobs PH. You're going to create an account. It allows you to hire Filipino workers. And and Filipino workers are incredible. I've hired a lot of good Filipino workers who do the job incredibly well. So what you're going to do, you can see here, this is a job post I made for a lead generation virtual assistant. What I've done to make this really easy is I've created a job post for you that you can copy and paste for Online Jobs PH to get lead generation assistance. So all you have to do is copy and paste this as a job description and you will get applicants your way. So let's break this down step by step. So with this job description, I won't go through everything, but it says we're looking to hire a virtual assistant to help with administrative tasks for our lead generation efforts. Now what's key here is to the responsibilities and requirements. So I'll just go through some of these responsibilities: finding out contact information of potential leads, sending out emails. If you're sending out cold DMs, it would be sending out Instagram cold direct messages, responding to emails, entering data, adding compliments, conduct research, fast communication. Now the requirements, we can say prior experience in lead generation. We want to make sure we only go after people who've done this before. And the good news is there's so much demand for this. You're going to have an endless supply of applicants your way. The next thing is experience inputting data clearly on spreadsheets, experience with Google Drive software like Docs, spreadsheets, and slides, excellent phone and email communication skills, good internet connection, and you can even have a fast typing speed. Now, at the end of here, one last thing is we say, PS, start your application with the word lemur if you're interested in this role. And the reason I put the word lemur, you can have any word here, but that way it filters out people who actually read this job description, because if they don't read this, they're not going to start their application with the word lemur. So to show you what this looks like, here's a job description that I made. Here's an actual post that I made. You can see this is literally the exact post that I made there. And what happens once you make this post is people message you. You can see I still have 136 messages I need to get to, and they just flood you from there. Now, to give you an example, once they actually reply to that, what it looks like is I can just search any of these messages here. This is actually someone that I hired from that job post. You can see they respond to that application with the word lemur, and they tell you, and they actually respond with a little bit about their experience and who they are. And then you read their application that they sent over, and then you schedule a meeting with them. That can be a Zoom call or a Skype call, and you conduct an interview. So again, all that happens is you set up that job post, people see that job post, they reply to that job post, and you schedule a meeting with them. Now, in terms of what to actually do, you want to interview 5 to 10 of your top applicants. So you want to review all the applications you get from that job post, and there's going to be about 5 to 10 of them that are really good, that meet the criteria. Maybe you have less than that, but anyways, I like to interview at least 5 to 10 applicants from the pool that I get. And the script to use when you're actually hiring them, these are the questions to use on the phone call or the Zoom meeting. First thing, you want to ask them about their experience with lead generation, how long they've done it, what companies they worked for. That will give you a lay of the land of their past experience. Then you want to ask them, do they have any experience putting together lead lists, responding to messaging, things of that nature. Then the question I really like to ask is, what do you think makes a good lead generation specialist? And the reason I like that question is it acts as a filter, because only people who have been a lead generation specialist and know what they're talking about will give you good answers. Like they'll say it comes down to scraping the right contact information. Speed to reply is important. They'll actually give you real things versus someone who's new that doesn't have a lot of experience. They'll give you a vague answer. And then you can ask them like their work commitment in hours, what their goals are long term. Now with Filipino workers, they stay with you for a long time and they're very loyal as long as you pay them on time and you pay them well. So that's everything to really ask. You can add some additional questions as well if you want to add more context here. This call shouldn't really take you more than 15 to 30 minutes. When you ask them what pay and salary are you expecting, they're typically just going to reply with what you had on that job post, which again, I recommend about $500 a month for this service, because you're going to get about 40 hours a week, full-time hours to hire someone to do your outreach for you. So it's a bargain. Now, what I like to end the interview, as I say, I have a few more interviews today. I'll get back to you in the next 48 hours. So then that way they know the next steps. So these are the questions to ask in the interview. Then from there, you want to hire your top candidates. So after you interviewed 5 to 10 applicants, pick your top candidates to actually hire. Now in this case, if I need to hire 2 lead generation specialists, I'm going to pick my top 2 candidates and get them on board. So the action item to focus on here is hire your lead generation specialists. Go post on Online Jobs PH. Use the job post right here, make any modifications to it, get it up and running, and typically within 48 hours, you're going to have a ton of responses and applications your way. Interview 5 to 10 of your top applications and hire the required candidates. Then step number 2 is we have to train our lead generation specialist because they're not going to know our process. And that's why it's so important that in the beginning, we do the outreach ourselves so we can figure out, here's the outreach message that works. Here's how we find leads. You need to know the process yourself so you can train someone up on it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create standard operating procedures to outline our entire process for a new outreach specialist to get trained up on. So to show you what that looks like, here's an example of one that I made for my outreach specialist that I hired. You can see there's a Google Doc that has a bunch of documents in it. It goes through how I find leads. It goes through how I create compliments. It goes through what outreach messages to send. It goes over how to follow up with prospects, how to schedule them to a meeting, how to send out the emails. Everything's attached in here. Now, if you click one of them and you open it, you can see there's a full tutorial. There's a video of me breaking it down for my virtual assistants that I hired, breaking down, here's exactly how I find leads, and I do it with them live so they can see it. And then I actually go through and list out the steps as well. Here's how to do it and all the steps for them to follow. And I do that for every single one of these steps. So then that way, when someone comes on board, they easily know my entire process. Now, this can take a little bit of time to put together, but it's totally worth it because now whenever you need to hire an outreach specialist, they just need a one-time training that you've put together and they'll know everything about it. So what you need to do there is create that standard operating procedure and put it into a Google document. And then you give them 24 to 48 hours, 72 hours maximum to watch your trainings. Now, if they're experienced, they're going to go through everything in like the first couple hours or the first day, and they're going to be confident on what to do because it's a fairly easy role that they're doing. Then what you want to do is you want to test them out for about 7 days with clear expectations you're looking for. So then that way they have clear expectations. So what you would say is, hey, I'm looking for you to send at least 50 or maybe 100 outreach messages every single day. From that, I'm expecting you generate at least 4 leads, and I want you to get at least 5 calls booked every single week. Something like that. You'd give them actual expectations that you're expecting based off of the baselines that you know. Now, if they can do the job at least 70% as well as you, you're golden. They're probably not going to do it to 100% of your task, and that's totally fine. But if they can do it 70%, that's really good. 70 to 80% because you're not doing it. You have leverage now, and you can hire multiple of these lead generation specialists. Now, if within the first 7 days you notice that it's just not working, or they're, what takes you, let's say 2 hours to get your outreach complete, takes them like 18 hours to get it done, or it takes them multiple days, and they're just very slow and they're bad at communicating, just get rid of them and find another one. And you're going to have an endless supply of applications that you can reach back out to, and you just take them through this process again until you find someone who's good that knows your process. So the action item here is to create an outreach training for your outreach specialist to train them up. So create a Google document, walk through every step in your outreach process from how you find leads to when the campaigns go live so they're clear on it, and your outreach specialist can get trained up. So just like that, we've checked off the second box, and now they're trained up. Then we can move on to the third step, which is managing your outreach specialist. So let's say they made it past these 7 days and they're a good fit. Now here's how we manage them long term. The first thing is we give them a set number of outreaches they need to do every single day and key performance indicators they're responsible for. So for example, we can tell them every single week you're required to send 700 outreach messages per week. From that, you're expected to generate 20 leads and you're expected to book 6 calls. These are your key performance indicators that I expect of you. So now they have very clear expectations of what they need to do. The second step, once they have their key criteria, is you want to make them do an end-of-day report each day in a Slack channel for the work that was completed. So for example, you'd give them a daily report, and at the end of day, they would put how many outreach messages they sent, how many replies they got, and how many meetings they were booked. So this has 2 purposes. Number 1, this allows you to have a pulse of everything that's happening, because if you don't have them giving a report, you don't really know what's happening. And the second big thing is it holds them accountable, because if they know they have to put an end of day report, they're going to make sure they hit the targets. They're going to make sure they send their 100 outreach messages per day. So you can see here's an example of one. This is in a Slack channel. It has the date, it has how many outreach messages they sent, how many replies they got, and how many calls they got booked. And they're going to post this every single day. So that's all you have to do to manage them. Is give them clear KPIs and expectations and make them fill out an end of day report. So the action item here is create an end of day report for your outreach specialist to fill out and give them clear weekly and monthly key performance indicators for them to aim for. So now that we're clear on that, and you've actually hired your lead generation specialist, you've trained them up, and you know how to manage them, part 3 is we need the technology to increase our sending volume. So if you're doing a cold email, and that's the channel you're using, we need to add additional email sending accounts to increase our volume. So if we're sending, in this example, we need to send 6,000 emails per month. That's roughly 200 emails per day. So you want to use Lemlist to send and manage your cold outreach campaigns. Now, Lemlist, in the lesson where we went over launching your cold outreach and your cold email campaigns, one of the paid options was using Lemlist. So if you're already using Lemlist, you don't need to worry about it. You already have your Lemlist account set up. If you're not using Lemlist and you did things for free, you need to go set up your Lemlist account, and you can do that watching the video in the launching your cold email campaign. So go follow the instructions there. Now, each Lemlist account can send 100 emails per day. So in this example, if we need to send 200 emails per day, what we need to do is we need to have 2 Lemlist accounts. Now, if you already have one set up, in this hypothetical example, you'd only need to create one more Lemlist account. So for that, you'd need to purchase a domain, an email address, and a Lemlist account. So you'd follow the steps that are outlined in the launching your cold email campaigns, where I go over how to set a Lemlist account to do that. So just repeat that process. And it's it's going to cost you about $80 per month for one Lemlist account that allows you to send out 100 emails every single day. And if you're wondering what that looks like, it's about $60 per month for the Lemlist account, $12 for the domain, and $8 for the G Suite account. Now, the other thing to mention here is if you need to send over 1,000 emails per day, let's say your targets are aggressive and you need to send over 1,000 emails per day to reach your targets, I'd recommend using Instantly instead of Lemlist. Instantly is better for high volume cold emails and cold outreach. So there's a full tutorial linked here on how to set up your Instantly account and do that. It's very simple. It's very similar. It just allows you to send a higher sending limit, and they're specialized in sending high volume cold emails. But if you're less than that, I recommend Lemlist. So again, for every 100 emails per day, you just need a Lemlist account. It's about $80 to do that. So let's say you need to send 500 emails every single day. It's about whatever 80 times 5 is. Let's just do a quick calculation. You can see I'm not very good at math. It's about $400 a month to manage something that allows you to do 500 daily outreaches, and you're going to make that money back, right? So the action item here is to create the additional email accounts to increase your sending volume if you're using cold email. So follow this process here to do that. And in this example, if I had to send 200 cold emails every single day, I would need 2 Lemlist accounts, 2 cold emails to be able to send out that volume. Now, if you're sending cold direct messages on Instagram, and that's the platform that you're using, we're going to have to do a different approach. So if we're sending 200 DMs per day in this example, let's say you need to send 6,000 DMs per month, 200 per day, you're going to need roughly 4 Instagram accounts, because on average, one Instagram account can send 50 cold DMs. So what you're going to need to do to increase your sending volume is you need to purchase an aged Instagram account. So I've attached a link here to a website called Bulk Accounts Buy. This is where you can buy this is where you can buy aged Instagram accounts. So these are accounts that are verified, that are aged, that you can modify and then start sending from. So in this case, you'd need to purchase 4 of them, so you can start sending that volume. And what you then need to do is once you purchase that, is you need to optimize your profile using the steps outlined in optimizing your cold outreach profile. So you'd optimize your bio, your profile picture, the content, all that stuff, so it is different. So once you've optimized your outreach profile, that's great. Now you can actually begin sending your 200 DMs per day on these Instagram profiles. So that's all you have to do. You have to get your aged Instagram accounts, optimize your profile, and you can begin sending from them. So just like that, now you have the technology to increase your sending volume. So if you're using cold DMs, the action item is create your additional Instagram aged accounts to increase your sending volume and optimize those profiles. So now that we've done that, we have just a quick recap onto this. We have set our scaling targets, so you know exactly how many clients you want and how much outreach is required to reach that target. We are building our scaling infrastructure, so we've hired lead gen specialists to do our outreach for us. We've trained them up. We're now managing them. And on top of that, we've increased our technology to allow us to do the sending volume required. And now the final step is we're going to calculate our marketing returns with our additional costs. So now that we're paying for outreach specialists and we've likely paying for software at this point, we can now calculate what our returns look like. So staff costs and tech costs in this hypothetical example where I need to send 6,000 outreaches every single month, my staff costs are $1,000 for the virtual assistants because it's $500 times 2. So that's $1,000. And my tech costs are roughly about $200 a month because it's $80. In this example, if I'm doing cold email, it's about $80 per Lemlist account. I'm just going to round up. So it's let's just say it's 100 for 2 of them is 1,200. So let's say my cost to manage the system is $1,200. Now, if I'm sending 6,000 outreach messages per month and my engaged response rate is 3%, that gives me 180 engaged leads. So that means my cost per lead is $7. So the way you do that is just 1,200, which is your total costs, divided by 180, gives you 6.6. So I just rounded it up to 7. Now, if we have a booking rate of 30%, so 30% of these 180 book a call, that gives us 54 booked calls. So that gives us a cost per call of $22. So we're spending $22 to get a call on our calendar, which is amazing. Now, if we have a 70% show up rate, that gives us 38 calls that showed up. And if we have a 10% closing rate, that gives us roughly 4 clients. So our cost per client is $300. So again, 1,200 divided by 4 is 300. So we're paying $300 to get a client. That is an amazing return. So if our client value is $2,500 per month, that gives you a monthly reoccurring revenue added of $10,000 per month. So your return on marketing spend on cash collected is an 8x because you're making $10,000 on $1,200 in costs. Now, let's say that your average client stays for 4 months. That means this is going to yield you $40,000 in revenue. So 40,000 divided by 1,200, you're getting a 33x return on your investment. So that is totally worth it. So that's the benefit of cold outreach, is once you get the system working, just because of how cheap it is to run, you can get these crazy returns. Yes, there are manual steps and there's people to manage, so there's a little bit more complexity towards it, but the returns you can get are huge, and it's a workhorse that can continue to work for you. So the action item here is calculate your marketing metrics with additional staff and technical costs. So just like that, that is step-by-step what you need to do to scale your outreach campaigns. So follow this, put it in motion, and if you implement this, you're now going to have a system that can consistently get you meetings and clients booked. So go get this done and let me know how it goes when you start scaling your outreach campaigns. Congratulations, you've made it to the end of the course. Now, if you made it this far and you've implemented some of the things I shared in this course, or maybe you've implemented everything that we went over, you're in the top 1% of people watching this, and I want to congratulate you on that. Because if we're being honest, most people watching this, they're going to skip around and they're not going to take any action. And because of that, they're not going to get any results and their circumstances aren't going to change. But if you're watching this right now and you've actually implemented what we covered, that means you're serious about changing your results. And most importantly, it shows me that you have the characteristics of someone who's going to build a successful business. And that's the hardest part. So again, good on you for that. Now, I truly believe in this course, it's going to give you everything you need to get clients consistently using outreach. The only thing that's left for you to do is stay consistent over a long enough time period. Because if you only take action and stay consistent for 14 or 30 days, you're probably not going to get life-changing results. You need to stick to this consistently, day in, day out. And if you do it over a long enough time period, you're going to get results and you're going to have more clients than you know what to do with. So make sure to stay consistent. Now, if you found this course helpful and you want to show your support, the best way to do that is by hitting the subscribe button below, or if you want to take things one step further, share it with a friend, because right now our goal is to provide the best free education to help people build a $10,000 per month social media marketing agency, and we're doing it all for free. So if you know anyone in your network who might benefit from this course, share it with them and make them subscribe as well. But apart from that, hope you found this helpful, and cheers to your success.